NASDAQ here gapping down, pushing lower here ahead of non-farm payrolls and unemployment data. That's going to be in just 30 minutes here. As you can see, the S&P 500 also gapping down. Let's take a look as well at USO. If I could type it correctly, we know that we do still have oil and conflict here in the Middle East on watch, claims being made by both Iran and the U.S. Specifically now, it looks like we're turning a lot of our attention towards this enriched uranium and the nuclear aspects of any potential Iran-U.S. deal. Let's talk here about Lululemon, LULU, one of many earnings names after the bell yesterday. This name getting hit, though, particularly hard. We know new CEO set to come in September of 2026. In the meantime, lots of struggles here for this company and some guidance concerns as well. DocuSign, IoT also reporting lots to talk about today. And again, guys, NFP at 8:30 a.m. Good morning, Sharif. Happy Friday.
Good morning, Adara. Likewise, happy Friday to you. There is a whole lot to talk about. It's a bad look for Lululemon, and this just gives Elliott Management more fodder for their activist shareholder or activist investor stance with the company. They're on the verge here of losing $100. We're down almost 10% here to start the morning on the back of what is a tough earnings report. But as Adara mentioned, lots to talk about. You have some Samsara, IoT, down 2%, but there is some green. TTAN gapping up here about 15% to start the morning. You also have Planet Labs also down 5%. And now there is rumblings here that SK Hynix could be eyeing a North American listing. So I was looking at DRAM here, down 6% to start the morning. There's some Micron headlines as well, and NVIDIA headlines too, Adara. It looks like Jensen might be making his way to Capitol Hill.
Yeah, lots of NVIDIA-related headlines. Of course, he's also apparently in South Korea right now, so we're going to have to wait and see what happens here with Jensen. If he does go to Capitol Hill, he'll be testifying in front of the Senate Banking Committee, I believe. That's expected to be on June 11th, though yet to confirm if he's going to be attending. But I know who is attending our show this morning in these trading desks. It is Sean and it is Neil. Good morning and happiest of Fridays to both of you.
Happy Friday. For a second there, I was like, ooh,
weird
we got a special, you can name a special guest or something? Like,
well, I mean, we should have Michael coming.
We might have
about a half hour from now.
No, we're going to have the NOS.
We have Randy here today. That's a special guest. We have Michael just arrived. So we say hello to Michael today as well. And we've got Andre, we've got Sharif, we've got everybody ready to rock and roll. And I mean, look, I mentioned that Lululemon was going to have a kitchen sink quarter, and that's, I mean, couldn't have basically said it any better, I think, anyways. And there's Lululemon, as Sharif just mentioned, down there, and it's a bad guide, and that's what we mean. That's what I mean when we say that kitchen sink quarter there. And obviously, they can't hide from the numbers, but yeah, throw them all out, regroup. As Adara said, new management coming. We'll see what winds up happening with Lululemon today. I think there's probably runway to get back to the upside here. Down now. We'll watch out for the SSR rule here, down 10% on Lulu. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a chance for this one to get back up there. And then, you know, we'll watch out today. We talked about that breaking that $60 mark yesterday here on QNT off their IPO. Not very well received. We'll see if SpaceX has a red candle this way or a green candle the other way off their report, off their IPO, hopefully next Friday. So we're excited for that one. Only 7 weekdays away, but 5 trading days. So yeah, QNT today might be worth a look here, shorting in and around $60. But yeah, man, it's going to be a really, really good one here today, again on a Friday. NASDAQ finally, they battled back yesterday. I shouldn't say finally down. Yesterday we had pretty much the exact same feel as today. We'll see if there's a battle back like there was yesterday.
We'll also see a medical company with an eye on NView Medical, and it is Feed. That's F-E-E-D on the NASDAQ. They developed what it describes as a GPS-style guidance system for feeding tube replacement in hospitals, helping clinicians improve accuracy and patient safety. This week, the company highlighted an independent peer-reviewed study that found significant safety improvements, reduced complications, and meaningful cost savings across the 5-hospital health system. With its technology now being used in 40 hospitals, Feed is certainly a company worth keeping on your radar. FED over on the NASDAQ. A NASDAQ which, by the way, they're the ones that are now acquiescing to SpaceX. S&P holds firm to their rules and will not make any exceptions for SpaceX, which...
or any major IPO.
Yeah, which I think at the end of the day, like I respect that. Like the rules,
stick to rules.
The rules are the rules, and you know, and obviously the NASDAQ decided to take another turn. It'll be interesting to see if this has any real effect. There'll still be some passive falling, but to not be in the S&P enough to follow the rules, there will be some passive buying in the first couple of months that might not be there. But that's a week away. It is what it is. If it feels like a replay of yesterday's, ooh.
There we go.
Thank you, Randy.
That's what I was telling Duran. I was like, he said no bananas. I looked over at Joe.
I didn't realize, oh yeah, because
Joe grabbed, well, these are like some hefty
I was going to see what the breakfast
bananas.
is, but Joe's already finished.
Yeah, it's shashuka.
Oh, it is shashuka?
Yeah, it's one of the best ones today.
It is delicious. It goes there.
And now Randy's going to come back with a coffee.
Whoa, shots fired. So Joe does not have his microphone on, so I will tell you what just happened. So he's eating a shakshuka, and he's like, go straight to the bicep, baby. And then Sharif, without missing a beat, what bicep? That's just how it is.
The bro show in full effect early here. Yeah, so.
I mean, if you're making a direct comparison, it's got to be like that, eh, Sharif? We see how it is. Joey will throw hands, though.
Yeah, they both have anger issues. Yeah, no, we're all good here. We have a great time, great atmosphere here, and thank you, Randy, for once again. Oh, everyone's on the banana train right now.
That'll be.
Yeah, look, is today one of the days where we get a flush that actually holds? I don't know. I mean, yesterday we saw Marvell, like I was saying, with a very, very similar issue yesterday off the open, and it was pretty choppy until it wasn't. We talked to Steve Tileman there yesterday, talking about the S&P 500, and he thought that it was going to, potentially be in the long there, and he hit that there yesterday. You could see Marvell yesterday 280 all the way back to 320. Today's not as dramatic, where we're going to be opening up at around that $300 mark. So that's the loss right there. If we can lose 300, then yeah, probably downside. So watch out for Marvell. Up 50% on the week. It's been an absolutely monstrous week for Marvell. And then we go over to crypto, and I look at the dollar right now, not really doing a whole heck of a lot. I mean, this is what the index looks like. We've been heading to the downside. Generally speaking, of course, that would signal a stronger NASDAQ, and we saw that happen yesterday, and right now kind of flat, so we're not really following too much NASDAQ-related issues there in the space. Let's go over to BTC. I mean, okay, so this is happening right here in the last 2 minutes, 61.5 up to 62, but that's not the story, man. I wanted to actually show you guys, obviously, what's been happening here to crypto. This is on the week. We're down 15%. 74,000, man, all the way down now to 61. It's not looking great here for Bitcoin. I mean, that's pretty nasty. And, it looks like, I know there's a lot of people that
See what Tom Lee said?
I don't care what those guys say.
But Tom Lee basically called ETH at the bottom the equivalent to Amazon at $6.
Well, he's
Amazon at $6.
He's probably lost
Amazon
a lot of friends with his
$6.
BMNR calls.
Amazon at 6.
That's how you know it's getting ridiculous, because that makes no sense. 61.25. This is the low 53s. Like this is probably where we're trying to go right now to see if there's a slip up here in crypto. Like, what happens when we do lose that 60 flat? I think it's going to be pretty dramatic. So I have IBIT written down here today to follow through with that kind of a trade. And we're always waiting for a bump higher. Yesterday, I don't even think I might have tweeted it out, but yesterday we had a crazy. If we did, I just want to show you the levels that we. Oh yeah, no, I stopped doing it, but this is what we shorted yesterday, 36.50. We wrote it down on our note yesterday, 36.50 short, and that turned out to be, for me, the highest P&L trade yesterday. There's 36.50. There's the close. We got some out there, 35.70, ripped up into that level again, and then fell back into 36. So you're even below where we were yesterday. But we waited for that pump, right? There was the dump right there off open. Then everything came back. We saw the market really rally back, obviously, yesterday, but crypto was not part of that. So we'll still continue to watch downside action here in IBIT. And
remember, this was yesterday was IBIT's best day in a week. In terms of strength. Like, it was, if you look at this, worse. And like last Friday had kind of an update. Like, yesterday was its intraday best day, and it still stunk. So when your good days are bad, yuck, and more yuck. And by the way, Adam James Abroad, Where are you now? You still in Miami? Let us know where you're at. The guy's all over the place. CMND, STI, Lays, Mask, Adara, lots of small cappers out there for everybody. I know a lot of you guys were chatting about STI this morning. Saw you guys in there. Obviously, this was a crazy runner that's doing another gap. This is the one to be cautious with. It went from $5 to $35 and is gapped up against. The third day is the one that most people are like, that's the dump day, but you know, no one ever went broke taking a little bit of profit, and there are already some profit takers happening in the pre-market. Like you can sort of see, like it's gapped, it is just slowly sliding. There could be some trend breaks, but watch out for this one, man. Like if it loses the bid or loses contain, it didn't have any halt fests to the downside. It just had every time it would halt down, it would catch a bid. Halt down, kind of catch a bid. It was very orderly. I suspect gapped up another 100%. It might not be as orderly if it loses a bid and halts down again off the open. But yeah, lots of small cappers to watch. Lays, Mask, going to be a few of them. I know Sharif is probably excited to trade them, but STI is under VWAP, Sharif. That's a toughie.
Rip yesterday, Neil, and this morning as well. I mean, I came in, I found it already up triple digits, dropping below triple digits now, but still up 95%. As you mentioned, though, trading below the volume-weighted average price. We'll have to keep an eye out on this one, but what an aggressive move this one was. I don't really like these day two plays, especially when they get into that, you know, double-digit, mid-double-digit territory, 30, 40 bucks where this one is at. The spread opens up, and they're a bit harder to trade, a bit more volatile, Adara. So we'll keep an eye on this one for the midday.
Indeed. Now, in the meantime, this name's been discussed already quite a lot, but I think it's certainly worth getting into this again. This will be on our rundown as well. This Lululemon report, especially in context of what's going on with the company and the negative sentiment around it, which even the company addressed, not a good look here for Lulu with their guidance getting cut.
Yeah, they actually mentioned specifically the media really, you know, giving them a hard time. Look, I mean, anecdotally, I go into the store and there's barely any room to walk, but what do I know? I mean, the numbers speak a lot more. Let's talk about this. They basically beat a little bit on revenue here, and they matched EPS, 169 versus 168. Everybody knows that. That's easy. Let's talk about the brutal 410 basis point gross margins compression. The cost of goods sold spiked significantly. Their margins collapsed down to 54.2%, heavily weighted by a 330 basis point reduction. They're blaming it on tariffs, and they're blaming it on steep markdowns. Where are these markdowns? I don't see them in stores. I looked. There was nothing on sale. Let's talk also about the Americas versus the China revenue. They're really losing traction here in the United States. Comparable store sales down 6% year over year. Look at China. You got positive numbers on that side. Not good enough, though, to keep this one from dropping more than 10%. And then they also had products away from body. This is their new yoga line. Didn't do good at all. Completely failed to generate expected customer traction. Those were the words used on the call yesterday, not my own. And a staggering 37% operating income wipeout, guys. They're just down. Their operating margins now are just down to 11.2%. Again, blaming it on employee overhead expenses, aggressive brand activations, and again, an unexpected proxy competition. We know, of course, Elliott Management really coming at them hard. And they lowered, Adara, their full year guidance to 11 to 11.15 billion. If that manifests, that would actually be a 1% reduction year over year in revenue, I believe.
Yeah, rough look for Lulu, and also a pretty rough look here for QNT. This is Quantinuum, the IPO we had yesterday, priced at $60, and as mentioned here, I think right after the close yesterday, we broke below that $60 level. Did you take this one off the open yesterday?
I didn't. I played around with it for a little bit, but there's a lot to talk about here. There is one customer for Quantinuum that represents 90% of their 2025 revenue. A lot of single customer concentration risk there. Perhaps maybe why it wasn't met with the kind of reception that it thought. Also, the underlying financials look incredibly thin for a $17 billion company. Guys, they made $30.9 million in revenue in full year 2025, but you got to offset that on the $192.6 million that they lost that year. So $17 billion valuation, geez Louise. And then realizing, that standalone quantum processors really are not ready to go right now. They've kind of adopted this other strategy where they're trying to integrate their quantum processors as well as their software with NVIDIA's CUDA system. So they're kind of pitching this hybrid computing model. Let's see if it picks up traction, Adara.
Do you guys think this name is any continuation to the downside today?
Yes. But at least we should at least acknowledge the other IPO was quite good. INIO opened higher, opened up, went higher, held in the afternoon. It's down a little bit today, but that was actually the success story and a little bit bigger. And these guys are in the data center power space. So like ultimately, it's not like it was all bad. And again, this was the bigger of the two IPOs. So I picked wrong. And the weird thing is you didn't actually have to pick which one you wanted to trade. The gap between the opens was like an hour or so. You could have easily just taken both trades off of the open, and the first one would easily have paid for this. The thing about the fundamentals and how much money they're making relative to the actual market cap, you got to chuckle, but it just puts them in the same space as all of the other quantum names that aren't like an IBM or an Alphabet, where they're very, very, very light on revenue relative to their valuation, and that's kind of the norm. So the fact that it could not hold 60, that gives the line there to work with. That's the issue price, right? So if there's any defense of it, if it doesn't trade above $60, then to me it's going to be a short, continuation short. Above that price, I think you're waiting for like the 63 or the 65. But I paid for locates when I sat down this morning, so I'll be looking for the fade on this. And I know, like for me, it's a good lesson. Like if there's two IPOs that fit the bill, like realistically, there's not usually anything stopping you from taking both. It's a little bit tricky. I don't think I've ever seen them open up in the same time, so they tend to stagger them. Would be nice if they actually gave you a bit of a schedule, like this company between 11 and 11:30, and this one between 12 and 12:30, but that's too much to ask.
I have, so, QNT's on here at $60 short. I think that's a easy, no-brainer look. So, we're going to take that short. If it comes back up to 60, I don't think there's any reason not to. I actually like Tesla today for a long. Tesla is going to be on my radar here at 418. It's right here, right now. Let's wait to see upgraded by JP Morgan. They're talking about their AI stack again, and that they're ready for, another leg higher. They went to, I think it was 475 or so on there. Here, it's on our watch list here. 475 on Tesla. Let's see what it says. Yeah, 475 from, they went from 475 from 145. So they were, this is a much ado upgrade right now. Vertical integration across hardware, software, manufacturing, and robotics. So, they're saying all the right words here for Tesla. So we'll see. That bottom is 417. We wrote down 418 for TSLA. So we'll get ready to go on this one. Going to be a long for me today on Tesla. Just like yesterday, we were looking at Marvell before. This one was choppy, though, until about 11 o'clock. And then it just got choppier all afternoon. So it might not be, that sort of runner that we're expecting. But if we do come back in, I think there's enough reasons today to hold this bid. The fact that it's holding right now with the NASDAQ down 1.15%, I think there's going to be relative strength in Tesla, just a matter of getting the right price. And that might not be 417.50, but these are the levels that I'm looking at here today on TSLA. We'll wind up seeing where that one goes. And then, it's like beating up on Lululemon. But the thing about Lululemon is it has a 9 PE. So I ask you, do you want to trade, would you rather own Lululemon down here at $100, or do you want to own, SanDisk up here? And maybe a lot of people probably say SanDisk, and I have a feeling they would be wrong up here at 1,800 for SanDisk right now. Put that in your portfolio, check it out in 3 months. Or do you want to do a Lululemon that's down there at 110? And we'll take a look back after their next quarter. I don't think Lululemon's a safe place to hide, and I think you might be wrong on trying to buy any dips here. But with a 9 PE, what I'm getting at is I think there will be traders that come in to try to buy this up if we do get another flush today. So, 108 is down here. That's held. We'll see if it winds up holding again. Nice little bump up, and we're already up I mean, that's not too bad. You know, if you were able to look at a bottom of around a 108, you're back up to 112 right there. So you're back up 3% just in the last hour. Let's see if the buyers do come in for Lululemon. I think with a 9 PE, it's worth a shot. And I may buy some. I mean, I sold some Target up here. And just to get into different space. I mean, I play with play money. Every single stock I'm talking about, other than basically an index, Mag 7 or Eli Lilly, is just money that I can throw around. And whether or not even that, Marvell was play money that turned into real money. And this is the kind of trades that I'm looking for. And Lululemon could be one of those ones as well. Yo, good morning, Birdman. We really appreciate that one. We want to say thank you to you. And, you know, it's been such a good run for us here at Trader TV Live with the great environment that we have and all the viewers that continue to humble us with those super chats for absolutely no reason. So we want to say thank you, Birdman, and we'll keep doing the show for you. That is for sure. We always say we put that, you know, into buying fish and chips, but then we don't get that done. So I'm not going to promise anything anymore about that. So, but thank you so much. Maybe we'll get some coffees on the house today. Thank you, Birdman.
It's Friday, man. Usually we'll do some. We keep having to wait for Sia to get these burgers going on. That's the other thing, too.
Wow.
Which we'll see if it happens. But she has to be here for that to happen. And we'll shout out to all of our viewers over on TikTok as well, and to getting the point. And, of course, to the viewer to some of our viewers in TikTok, that point of it's not about Lulu versus SNDK. I think it's about, do you think this rotation is done or not? Right? Like, one of these days, we're coming in down 1% with all the chips, because right now it's like the chips that are down. Like, it's Marvell 3, Micron 3, ARM 5, SNDK. Like, those are, like, that's what's actually pulling back. If you look at everything else, like, they're down a little bit, but those are the names that are really running. It's the SHOCKS and it's the chips. And it's the day that they don't catch that bid. Like, you know what we have, like, see every single morning for the last 4 days on ARM? Down, down, down. Every day. 4 days in a row. Every day this week. And then dip buyers galore. You have to ask yourself the question, what happens when they're not there that one day? And then we're going to have, like, double digits across the board. And I think you're starting to really see signs of it. ARM is the one that stands out to me just in terms of, and I own shares ARM, just how crazy the turns have been when you catch these bids. And they're all random. Like, it's not like it's doing it exactly at the same spot where, like, they're supported at an obvious price. But the dip buyers have been there, and if they decide to take a morning off, it could get real interesting real fast. We're going to go up to we're not? Oh, my bad. Let's head back up to this. I know we have Michael coming on in a little bit, but we'll let Joe get ready. As there's a lot to discuss, but I think the real theme today, regardless of earnings, regardless of SpaceX next week, and there'll be so many questions and so much chatter about it, and we'll continue to talk about it and discuss it. It's really the buyers that have been here. They've been there for Micron. They've been there for maybe not NVIDIA. They've been there for AMD. They've been there for ARM. And all of those companies have ridiculous moves that I can't imagine there's too many people that are, no, this is a good place for a long-term investment. You have to ask yourself, can the dip buyers last forever before you get a real correction? And this is only 10% off the highs, right? Like, it's gone bear before. Like, it went bear back in April before its last ramp. They can go 20% easy. Now we're ready for Joe. Get some options action.
All right, guys, good morning. Let's take a look at some of the activity from yesterday's session. A lot of names here, guys, that I'm interested to talk about. We're going to kick things off with Robinhood. I know we are quite a ways away from this, but I do like the open interest and the volume within this specific $100 contract. That's going to be expiring in a couple of weeks, so keep that in mind, guys. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a slow influx. Don't forget, PDT rule now officially lifted. What does that mean? Potentially more transaction fees here for Robinhood. Now Nokia continuing to climb here, guys. $15 sliding in the pre-market, but I do believe that $20 strike price is relatively attractive. Why? 46,600 contracts at that specific level, and then volume 5,380 opening closed on it yesterday's session. Now we're $10 off of the 225 marker here on NVDA, but look at the amount of size traded on yesterday's session. 151,000 contracts opened and closed. Open interest is sitting around 84,100 there, guys. So I like that. All of this is going to be expiring on the 18th. Moving forward, we are going to be looking at Meta and a potential floor. I like this specific strike price. Do I believe that we are going to be able to hold above this level? Yes, this is why I'm specifically bringing you guys this contract. Now, what I really want to get into here is going to be our open interest. 13,000. This is 13,000 contracts still open that expire today. Now, it makes a lot of sense. We want to look for that rollover, but what I do believe here is we go to that 18th, the 18th expiration cycle, and we look at the exact same strike price. Not as much size there yet, but what we can see is a potential rollover in contracts. So what am I getting at here, guys? It's really important to note that I believe that this could be a potential floor. Why? Because, oops, look where we're correlating with. Look where we're correlating with, right? We have a support level right here, and then we have a high level of open interest. Now, as for the bid and the ask, our spread sitting around $20 and our delta sitting around $23. Now, our gamma, a 007, and then our at the money IV slightly cool. We've had a bounce over the past couple of sessions and one of the stronger, larger names. Moving forward, what can we specifically do with this? So what am I getting at here, guys, is a potential options writing situation. Now we have the $600 strike price and the $590 strike price. That's going to roughly collect $170 on the 18th expiration cycle that we were first talking about. And what is the scenario? All we need is Meta to close above $600 in the span of a couple of weeks. Now the bid, you can see 540 and then 370. So what you will be collecting is on the bid side if you're an options writer, and then what you have to pay is that $375, collecting a total of $170 per contract combination. All right, so not too bad of a look, guys. A couple of weeks, $170 collected from the credit side of things, as long as Meta stays above $600. Send it back to Neil and Sean.
Good look, Joe, and there are buyers there. There's no question about it. The question with Meta, I feel like, has been, can it do anything more than give you a small pop off that 600? Because each time it bounces, it's lower highs and lower highs. I think you know how the story goes. Like, you can have that phenomenon, and it's great because it gives you these lower highs for potential wedge break. But if it loses the bid after those lower highs, it kind of makes that flat bottom break look a little bit nastier. I want to shout out to, we had Mia is here with a super chat. So appreciate the super chat. No message, just the super chat. So we can't flash it on the screen with a little fancy thing, but we can shout you out, Mia, and we appreciate you. All of our viewers for sure, and thank you for all the support. We also have Birdman with a sentiment about when the dip buyers won't be in, as we were discussing. And Birdman thinks the run isn't done until unemployment reaches 6%, and that will come around September. So you're thinking a little bit longer here. And you know, the elephant in the room also becomes, hey, well, if things in Iran don't change and the strait isn't opened up, that continues to linger throughout the summer, and you might not have to worry about September. Like, we could be a little bit sooner than that, because you'll have other pressures. You got to be thinking about inflation. If we go another month with this, it's going to get really hairy. You're in Europe first, but like, it's going to get pretty hairy here for sure. So I'm kind of with you. Like, some things need to break for sure. But it also the other thing on a more short-term sense is you have to every day come in with the mentality that, sure, fine, all this stuff looks toppy, but for now, the dip buy has been working. Yeah. Like, that's just kind of how it is. It's like, the one day, if 10 days in a row we're down and the dip buy works, and then on the 11th day it doesn't, you're still better off doing it every single day than you aren't, and then just losing on the 11th day. That's kind of how I feel about that QNT IPO. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, we have non-farm payrolls coming out and unemployment rate coming out now at 8:30. So watch out as we continue to watch the cues. I wrote that on the note. The note's out already. Right now, we're going to be patient. It's Friday. We want to short the market, but we're going to get a number in just about 30 seconds. Let's go back over the desk and find out exactly what those numbers look like here at 8:30.
Non-farm payrolls here, guys. 89,000 is the forecast for the month of May. 115,000 prior. Unemployment rate 4.3% versus 4.3% prior. Do you have any thoughts on these numbers, Sharif, with 20 seconds to go?
Yeah, it should be. We've been talking a lot about the interest rate environment. This is obviously going to play right into that, obviously, because that is one of their dual mandate. I'm talking about the Fed, of course. Low higher, low fire is where we've been. Let's see if that continues to be the same, Adara.
Yeah, we're just a couple seconds here now. Again, 89,000 is the number we're looking for NFPs. Just waiting for this to populate, seeing some Canadian employment data. Let's see where this U.S. employment data is, guys. Again, once again, 4.3% unemployment. So that's going to be exactly in line with estimates. And the prior unemployment rate exactly in line with estimates. Average hourly earnings, 3.4%, also in line with estimates. Non-farm payrolls, give me 2 seconds here, guys. Again, 89,000 was the forecast. These come in at 172,000. So well above the forecast here. You do get a spike higher in S&P 500. Better than expected NFP data, Sharif, though the rest of these numbers mostly in line with estimates.
Yeah, absolutely, which is not a bad look. I mean, we've been talking more about, the AI efficiencies, especially at the hyperscaler level, and not hiring and mass layoffs, quite frankly. So it's good to see, at least in the short term, that this can happen. But when you look at what analysts are saying, we're expecting, huge job losses until the end of the decade. And then, after the end of the decade, they're saying that we're going to start adding little by little. But these are interesting numbers here, too, from Canada, Adara. Look at this. Canada adds 154,000 full-time jobs, loses about 66,200 part-time jobs. That is a good look. The average hourly wages for Canadian earners as well, up 3%. And then this one as well, net jobs, 87,000 up from April, especially since we're apparently in a technical recession on this side of the border. Good to see some good strength in these employment numbers on this side, Adara.
Indeed, it is good to see some strength for the Canadian numbers. Good look here for U.S. as well. Let's take a look at Michael Noss. Always good to see him as well if he's ready to go. Thank you very much to Michael Noss, CMT, for being here with us on another Friday. How are you doing this morning?
Thanks for having me. I was doing a little better than that before that number came out. I see we're dropping a bit, but that's just the nature of things.
Indeed it is. Let's take a look here at some RSP data. I know you were talking a little bit about rotation. So what are you feeling about rotation now? We know we've had a lot of tech weakness, and I understand you have some thoughts about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And yesterday, it's only one day, so I don't want to read too much into it, but it was a very interesting day in which we had actually small caps and the average stock move higher, and then we had the tech-weighted indexes move lower. So this first chart is the black line on top is RSP, and then the line down below is just the Qs. So this is a simple way of looking at across the same universe, across the same large cap universe, saying, is it tech that's doing well or is it anything else? And you can see, RSP was up, almost 1% at that point. And then we had the Qs down almost 1%. And that split has been very rare. Generally, you'll see them somewhat in line. Maybe one's up a little bit more than the other. Maybe one's down a little bit more than the other. But to see one doing really, really well and the other doing really, really poorly. So just to quickly explain the RSP, it is just the same S&P 500 we all know from looking at the SPY and all of that. But it is equal weight versus cap weight. So no longer does NVIDIA and Meta and all of the AI kind of centric entities make up the entire index. It's more of a split of what the average stock is doing. So we had great breadth yesterday where it was like 67%. So, 2 and 3 stocks were up yesterday. Everything outside of the Qs in the tech area looked great. And then the tech area looked bad. And there's been a lot of people I know saying that, hey, as soon as the AI trade stops, the market's going to fall apart and it's all going to be bad. But the next chart I just have is the S&P 500. And it gapped down and was able to close green. So not only are we seeing this rotation potentially happen, but we're seeing it happen and it's not affecting the overall market very much at all. And I think that is very, very positive. That's exactly what we want to see. You know, Ralph Alcampora, who founded the CMT, they call him the godfather of technical analysis, just always had a saying that rotation is the lifeblood of a bull market. And when we say rotation, we just mean maybe people are taking money in kind of the semiconductor names, some of these DRAM names, and they're going to be rotating that money somewhere else. So as opposed to focusing on the high flying area that's, you know, all over the news and it's what everyone's focusing on, I'm spending most of my time, and you guys have heard me mention this for months now, looking at different sectors. And a lot of these have worked out phenomenally. You know, biotechs have been great. Some of these other names, you know, the marijuana sector and psychedelic sector and all this kind of stuff. But I got some broader sectors to look at. But first, I just wanted to show kind of the culprit that, you know, caused this QQQ versus RSP chart to look the way it is. And that's this chart. And this is just DRAM. Most of you have probably already heard of it. But if you haven't, this is just Round Hill. What a launch of an ETF. What a well-timed launch. It launched at $30 a share and then ripped all the way up to 70. This is a lot of these RAM type companies. It's got some Samsung and it's got some of the Korean names in there as well. And then it's got some of the local ones like Marvell and Micron and SanDisk and all that kind of stuff. And you can see gap down yesterday, and where the SPY gapped down and was able to go green and was able to close pretty much near highs, this one gapped down and just kind of chopped around all day. So this is a good proxy for the AI trade as a whole, the hardware side of the AI trade. That got hammered. Everything else was able to hold on fine. So that's the main thing that I want us to focus on, is that we don't really need this. It may seem, if this is going to continue, again, it was only one day, so we don't want to read too crazy much into it. But if this is going to continue the way it is, and we're going to start to see outperformance in RSP and IWM and all of that, it will feel bad for the people who are solely looking at and investing in the AI trade, but there could be a whole world where everything else happens. If we get this rotation, it might be a lot like, you know, what happened in .com. If you look at some of that, yes, the tech companies went down, but there were places to go and there were places to invest and there were places to make money. So I've got two that are super interesting for sectors that I want to look at. And the first one here is the XLF. And that's because it had this bear trap that I've highlighted here. Clean support at $51 for months. It kept bouncing on 51, 51, and then we had this really ugly drop. It looked, you know, this candle looks like a hammer now, but at one point intraday, we were down in that 50-50 area and things looked really, really bad. And then we closed okay, gapped up the next day and ran all day. I bought some, and just, you know, I always want to talk about the trade if I'm in it. I bought some FAS, which is a leveraged version of this, so I could apply less capital to it. But you could take this and you could say, okay, well, financials are doing well. You could grab your favorite financial company, whatever that is, you know, your Robinhoods might even be part of this, different companies like that that are a little bit more speculative. Or if you want to trade safer, quote unquote, there's, you know, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs and all this. But XLF, very interesting place, nice breakout on high volume and a good candle. Also a nice breakout is this next chart, which is XLV in the healthcare sector. This is something else that I've been buying quite a bit of. And you can see how far we are below all-time highs. We still have, you know, another 10% or so to get to all-time highs. So if this base, this low base that I've kind of highlighted here, resolves higher at the same time that you have this selling in some of these tech spaces, and that's great. So the point of this is, you know, just to use the Canadian saying, I guess, is a little bit of skate where the puck is going. You want to think and say, if they sell semis, what are they going to buy with it? If they're going to buy bonds and things like that, we might be in a little bit of trouble. But if they're going to buy other sectors, we want to focus on what they're going to buy next.
I have a couple questions here. Great presentation as always. Thank you very much, Michael Noss. In terms of sectors, when we're having this rotation, you've mentioned in the past that both XLV and XLF are perhaps better than most in a position to benefit from potentially a cutting cycle. Are there any sectors that you think are also worth watching, say we keep rates held or even raised a bit, that you think are maybe in a position to still do okay with this rotation?
Yeah, you know, if we start raising rates, that's generally a move from speculative to non-speculative. It's a lot easier for, you know, or some of these rocket companies or quantum names or things that don't have any profits and they kind of live off debt. If the interest rate gets raised, a lot of these will likely probably suffer from it. but you can go to larger cap names that won't be affected. And I know none of this is, these aren't interesting names, but there's leverage ways to trade them and all of this. But I would think a lot of your, Costco's and Walmart's, like some of these retail names, just think the bigger you are and the more access to capital you have, the less you worry about interest rates. And I think Google is actually, the recent thing with Google is a perfect example. They wanted to raise some money, and they were able to go to like Warren Buffett and Goldman Sachs and all of these and have the whole thing financed before they did anything. Your small ma and pa organization is not going to have access to that thing. So if rates are high, I think this was proven, during the rate hiking cycle, you want to go big.
Makes a lot of sense. I also have another question here, and I want to go back to this slide of yours, DRAM. I like that you mentioned this is a pretty new ETF. Now, another ETF that's fairly recent here, and you already mentioned this sector as well today, is NASA. Now, do you find that if we get a situation where you get these maybe new ETF or new sectors really popping off, does that sometimes precede these moves where you start to see RSP outperformance? And I know this is like a lot to ask without any research having been done here, but I kind of was curious about that trend, if you've noticed anything there.
Yeah, it's kind of a meme, but there might be some truth to it. So for example, there's no pure play coal ETF that does any volume, and it's because they delisted it. I think when Biden got in as president, thinking that coal would not exist, that was the low of coal. That was the very low. And so sometimes you see this where when people want to, put out these ETFs, the money has to come from somewhere. And that's the whole SpaceX argument that people are making right now. And if the money comes from somewhere, it could be a little bit of a top. It's the same kind of, I guess, joke or meme I make with the magazine covers when I bring those in periodically. I don't think there's anything like malicious about it or anything. It's just that it takes a long time to put out a magazine cover, and it takes a long time to put out an ETF. So often, by the time these things launch, I just think the story's kind of run its course a little bit.
That's a really interesting way of looking at it, and thank you for going over that for us, Mr. Michael Noss. Where can the people find you if they would like to learn more?
Yeah, statsedgetrading.com is my website, and Michael Noss CMT everywhere else in the world.
There we go. Michael Noss, CMT. Thank you very much. Good friend of the show. Always great to have you here on Wednesday and Friday mornings around 8:30 a.m.
Yeah, have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday.
See you. Have a good weekend.
Fantastic stuff, as always, by Mr. Michael Noss. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with downgrades, as we typically do. At the top of our list here today, we have Walmart going from a buy to a hold. You're down about 1/3% here, guys. And then Fiserv, also on the downgrade side of things, guys, going from a neutral way to underperform here, guys, with a $46 price target by BNP Paribas. And then also we have CrowdStrike hitting the upgrade yesterday, guys, but now downgrade going from a buy to a hold, but we're increasing our price target to $720 from $525 at Bernberg. Now Suncor also on the downgrade, you're positive 2.4% here, guys, but going from a buy to a neutral weight with a $72 price target at Goldman Sachs. Now moving forward, we're going to take a look at some more positive things. Tesla at the top of the list here, guys, going from a sell to a hold. You're slightly positive here this morning. And then Form Factor, Evercore ISI, giving them the nod, guys, in line to outperform with a $155 price target. Moving forward, Chipotle Mexican Grill getting the nod by JP Morgan, 1.7% to the top side, guys, going from a neutral to an overweight here with a $35 price target, down from $38, guys, once again from JP Morgan. Now Tidewater also getting the nod, hold to a buy with a $90 price target. You're roughly flat here this morning, guys. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Flat this morning isn't bad. So I wouldn't hold it against a Tidewater. CrowdStrike getting a downgrade. I mean, like, obviously, one of the themes that has happened when cybersecurity names, and a lot of earnings have come around, but specifically in cybersecurity, has just been the valuation. They've always been pricey. And so for CrowdStrike, for Palo Alto, the best of the breed, the pullback was heavy and swift. The dip buyers tried to really fill that gap in, but it didn't quite fill the gap on Crowd. So it's got the earnings low, right? Like anytime you're post earnings, you've got that earnings bottom, you want to see it hold for a couple of days. Would take quite the jaunt to get down there, but at least for the next couple of sessions, that I think it's actually on the open, it's like 670, but the pre-market low is like 665, 666. That'll be one to watch. I don't know if we can get there today, but it's certainly possible because we did the jaunt yesterday and just did it to the upside. But maybe on Monday, that'll be a nice place to defend over on CrowdStrike.
Look, the only long that I have written down here is Tesla. And as the market makes a move lower, Tesla makes a move higher. So, all right, well, I mean, it happened in the pre-market again. This is such as life. You know, we wrote down 418. We talked about it. I showed you the chart. You know, next time, maybe we'll do something about it. But, yeah, there goes Tesla, as if there was news. It probably isn't. But there's 418 holding exactly at 836. 418 is what we wrote down. There goes 418. All the way to the upside. So anyways, there goes Tesla. We'll be on that name today at some point. Tesla here today, getting the upgrade. We just saw different, I think it was Evercore. We also had one there from JP Morgan today on the upgrade for Tesla, talking about the robotic possibilities, the possibilities with AI. And then obviously you get SpaceX coming next week. So, you know, I really liked Tesla today. It hadn't been on my watch for a while. And we just found a base. We got that upgrade, and there we go, Tesla. Look, let's not worry about it. This is just more like, okay, hopefully it comes back down. I mean, we've seen this name obviously move and rock and roll very dramatically every single morning. Seems like it goes up, goes down, finds a base. Yesterday we talked about, I mean, I was just doing this 10 minutes ago, talking about how choppy it was right there. And there we go, upside right now for Tesla, bouncing smoothly off that 418. At least we wrote it down. We'll see if it comes back in. Hopefully we'll be able to take it at some point. But yeah, dip and rip. Yeah, ASTC. We've seen ASTC. What's up, Birdman? Thank you for all your contributions this morning so far, Birdman. And yeah, ASTC, I mean, this is another one of those runners, man. This was like, you know, way down here. And now it's all the way up here. So ASTC, we're going to have to, you know, we'll look at this one more time. It's still caught in the middle here. Let's see if we can break higher into 48 bucks. That would be interesting if that ever winds up happening. Add 20% to this name right there. But going upside, I don't know if there was news on this, but thanks for the little look as what is the company name? ASTC?
Astrotech.
Astrotech, yeah, corporation. So I don't know, probably one of those low floater names. But yeah, breaking above that 40. 40 looks like here on the 5-minute chart. Looks pretty good. RMSK.
Another one.
MSG.
Adam James abroad shouting out Bovin, the OG Bovin specifically. Kaboom on RMSG. Let's try to find the news on this sucker, and I didn't see a story for RMSG. It's not that it has to RMSG, Real Messenger. It doesn't have to have a catalyst, but when I see two monster pops like this, like at aftermarket right at 4 o'clock, and then another one here today. Usually I'm thinking there's something accompanying it. Only a 3 million float for this. So this is a super small float, and 9% of it is short. So it doesn't really take much. You can get maybe people on message boards, that kind of a thing does happen. Soak up a small float. It's already done 60 million shares and popping higher. Just always remember, some of these stocks have a bit of a profile, and only ever bring this up or show the daily chart so that you get an idea. You know, when you have stocks that'll frequently reverse split or pump and then last a couple of days and then pull back in, it's worth being aware of it. So this $4 the last time and $5 before that here on RMSG. Couldn't find a story. Maybe there's something floating around online, but there's no official headline for it. Great volume. Absolutely fantastic volume on this. And there seems like there's a lot of small cappers. I don't know, anecdotally feels like there's a bunch running this AM. Sometimes when the market's weak, the longs are for the small cap traders, and you know everything else is going to be the shorts. Maybe it's one of those types of days, Sharif.
Be good, Neil. Let's keep an eye here out on this RMSG. Let's flip to the 5. Take a quick look at how this is trading. Yeah, this is trading right into 375. Volume weighted average price is around 2 1/3. 3 will be an important level here, especially with that 375 move. You feel like it's cleared 3 by a sufficient amount of distance that you should be looking to that whole dollar level of support. You know, when it gets up like this into these like kind of mid-single digits, 3, 7, I start thinking $5 area resistance, major area resistance. If we clear that, then, you know, I start thinking 10. So let's see how this one goes, man. It doesn't have a red candle here since around I think about 20, 25 minutes ago. So an aggressive move up here, up almost 200% Adara in the pre-market.
Yeah, good look there. I did look into RMSG for news. I went in their press release website because sometimes it gives you a better sense. They haven't posted anything in terms of new press releases since December of 2024. So I have nothing here for RMSG. I do have something here on non-farm payrolls, just to go over this again. This visual you can find on X at TTV Research. But again, guys, NFP for May 2026, 172,000 versus 88,000 expected. That is well above estimates, also above the prior print of 115,000. Unemployment rate, 4.3% in line with estimate and prior. Average earnings year over year, 3.4% in line with estimate and below the prior print of 3.6%. We're going to talk oil in a second. I also just want to mention here the CME FedWatch tool. So I'm seeing some people online saying that one rate hike is fully priced in before the end of this year. On the CME FedWatch tool, at the very least, we're seeing a January 2027 rate hike. Now, a couple days ago, even yesterday, we were seeing a March rate hike. Sharif, do you think we get this rate hike before the end of the year or just after?
I can't really comment on that, Adara. It's such a, swing from day to day. We'll keep an eye, of course, on the FOMC rate tool. Obviously, jobs as well as interest rates as a result of higher oil, inflation as a result of higher oil will play a major part in that decision making. Let's see how those two variables kind of come to the fore when we come to the rate decision, Adara.
Indeed, and I think that first Fed meeting with Kevin Warsh could maybe give us a bit of a sense of the things he's going to be looking at as Fed chair. So that could be pretty insightful as well in terms of trying to predict a possible rate path, if that's even possible. In the meantime, what's certainly also not possible is really predicting the action on USO and a lot of the flow of news stories. We know President Trump making some conflicting statements last night about whether or not he'd like to meet the supreme leader of Iran. And now enriched uranium is really back in focus, I think, here.
It is, and so is Israel's role. It's becoming a lot more complicated here, especially with the belligerencies between Israel and Lebanon, really kind of putting pressure on the end of this conflict. We all know what the conversation between President Trump and Bibi Netanyahu was like. President Trump confirming the strong language he used with the Israeli leader in an interview with the New York Post. But separately, I saw this headline today. Israel actually had a foothold in Azerbaijan. Before the conflict even started, they had secret forces there within throw stone away from some Iranian cities. So a lot more angles coming out here specifically with their role and the continuation of this conflict. We'll have to see, if the cessation of belligerencies on that side of the conflict, Adara, helps ease perhaps the opening of the strait.
Yeah, we're seeing some comments just now coming out from the president of Lebanon. Earlier today, Iran was claiming, and I'm not saying anything to back this up, that apparently U.S. Navy was forced to flee from some drone strikes there. So just be aware, guys, lots to keep an eye on once again for oil. Are you watching USO or any sympathy plays?
Not as much as we usually would be. I think, like yesterday, USO basically didn't move. And you could literally rewind probably exactly 24 hours ago. And I sort of said to myself, I'm going to care about oil and maybe tracking how that's going a bit more if we break the top of the range at 37 here in USO or 135. And we stayed more or less range bound the entirety of the day. We're still in that exact same range for 2 days now. Usually we're gapping around and moving around, but that is, so unless something happens, I'm not terribly concerned about it, but just if we can take one step back, because I think this all does come right back into race and the direction of the economy. The fact that nothing's happening also means that there's no new progress being made, right? And we just recently saw what looked like, it seemed like we were getting a breakdown and progress and ceasefire and all that. Next thing you know, we're back with the 50, and you're trying to get back into another uptrend here with oil. The market seems to be writing it off. You have a 1 in 6 chance of 50 basis points higher. Not one raise. There's a 1 in 6 chance right now of 50 basis points by the end of the year. And the market's only now coming off of highs. And the war isn't over. So there's certainly a little bit of a disconnect. And it's not to sound doom and gloom, but I would hope, look, a deal gets signed promptly and fantastic, but until then, there's a kind of an anchor which is sort of sitting out there on the deck which for some reason it feels like it could get randomly thrown any second now. Cheese and a chair. That's right.
That's a good one.
I like it. Every once in a while, the Girl Scouts deliver cookies to the wrong house. This morning in the pre-market, CNMD was briefly up 6% due to all the people who mistyped, CNMD, who mistyped CMND, free cookie day. Yep. You know, this used to happen like years and years ago. It used to happen a heck of a lot more often than it does now. There was what was the Tesla one? TLSA.
Yeah, and there was something about Twitter too.
There was an OTC Twitter thing
there was
once.
A few different things that happened. Yeah.
The fact that it still happens is a little bit more surprising now, though. Like that seems crazy that people would still ever make that kind of a mistake. Like there's that hasn't really traded. Yeah, like, I mean, Clearmind, that other one hasn't really traded too much, but I don't know. Like the best I would say is if you ever see a situation where it's blatantly obvious that has occurred, I just don't think it really is monetizable anymore, where like you get like a random headline and someone's got it wrong. Every now and then, it can be worth taking advantage of. I mean, like I'll give you an example. It was like maybe this one only was 2 or 3 years ago. There was a small capper that was sort of gapped. It was gapped up and it was trading normally. And people were treating it like a small cap gapper. And this was like what we're doing, but this was in the pre-market. It was about 7 o'clock. But there was a story on it that I was reading and I read it 3 times. I'm like, wait a minute. These guys are getting bought for $5. And it was gapped from like $1.50 to like $3.
Right.
And I'm seeing it trade, and it's at like 3:30, and I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And I was so sure that I was wrong that I didn't just immediately punch in. Eventually, I just punched in. I'm like, this is stupid, and it went to like 450 like a regular buyout would. It was so early in the morning, it's almost as if people or algos were trading it as if it was just some random biopharma, and it was doing its normal like barcoding. And it's like, no, there's an actual deal here, and it corrected. I've seen that happen like once in 10 years. And if you get lucky, hey, take advantage of it. By the way, CMND is really 420. Of course it's 420. It just broke out from some resistance at $4.20. There's something about that number. It just always tends to be a thing. And I can use this segue because MSOS is actually up 8% today. I didn't see a reason why. Adara, is there a reason why MSOS was actually up today? I saw a few people in the chat talking about it. It's pretty interesting, MSOS. Like, this has been a space that has been an absolute dog and has burned way too many people. But don't look now. It's woken up. You've got a long higher low, little bit of sideways action for a potential break here. Like, it's actually doing a little something. And every time I see a spike, I'm like, okay, we get a progress here, because the dip buys have actually been working for you if you've been playing this one to the long side. Long term, I really don't like the space. I just think, how are you ever going to make enough money? It's just too easy. It's just too easy of a business. Margins aren't going to be big enough. But it doesn't mean it can't ride the train for a little bit.
I mean, no one's trading this Tizania today. I mean, instead of Tesla, TLSA. This is, you might have thought, hey, man, maybe this is a ETF of some sort, but here's an example of that. TLSA is, of course, opposed to TSLA. And I feel like people are going to be going, oh, I'm buying some SpaceX today, but no, I'm buying some Virgin Galactic. That would be horrendous if that was a decision that you wound up making. Buy gold, everything gold. And we haven't bought some gold in a long time, but it's getting about time to maybe think about doing some of that as well as these numbers get hit, or it's getting hit here on the job numbers. And I just want to bring this to your attention because gold is right now at your 200 period moving average. So there's gold right there, making another move back in. You're worried about rates, you're worried about, sort of the world economy, you're looking to get into something that's supposed to be a little safer. Why not trust your hand in some gold today, down to $400 and your 200 period moving average? And if we zoom this out a little bit, what an epic run this thing's had. Obviously, it was doing absolutely nothing for 35 years, and then all of a sudden just took out, and now it has outpaced the S&P 500 over that 35-year span now. So if you were in gold at any point instead of the S&P, you would have been doing well. Now, I don't know if that's true with this most recent pullback. Thank you so much, Randy. It was a about a 1 a.m. night last night, so we're tired already. Right, yeah, I didn't get back till 10:30, and you know stuff happens. And then right into there, 400 and change right now for GLD. So we'll see what that's doing right now, back into the 200 period moving average. So yeah, watch out for that as that's coming back in there. Randy, you like gold or do you like silver? Silver has an industrial aspect to it, so I think short Ford, yeah. I actually sold some Ford. Ford's been huge, man. That has been a good one. Look at what's happening with silver right now, straight to the downside as well. And we'll look at Ford. Yeah, we got into some Ford at 16 and change the other day. We got a Ford around this $15 mark, as well as, you know, Ford had another huge move up, and, you know, really basing off of 11 bucks. Nice move up into 17.50 for Ford. Yeah, we got some out, like I said, 16 and change something, not at the very top, of course, but there comes Ford right back in. And this has been something that's been in the account for, I'm probably going to say 10 years. That's the one thing that I got to look at the broker, like it should say like initial purchase time gives you the percentage up or down. But Ford, again, another stock that's been pretty much doing nothing for weeks and weeks and weeks and maybe months on end. And here we go. Let's call up a weekly chart for Ford, and you'll see that there it is, poking its head above. We haven't been up here since 22, so that's, you know, a good level. And, you know, as opposed to anything else, I mean, it's all about the timing of everything, right? I mean, we could look at Rivian now at $18, but are you still holding it from 108? You know, there's like different aspects to every single stock, so you got to watch out. This was actually part of Rivian, probably came public somewhere around 2021, because Ford had a big stake in Rivian, and that was creating a huge bump in their name, and then they fell right back down in. Obviously, Ford did not fall as dramatically as Rivian, of course, but there it comes right back in right now into $10, $11, and now Rivian with their, I'm just waiting for that, I've already got the reservation, I'm waiting for the invite to say bye, and then we'll be getting an R2 and looking at Ford as opposed to Rivian right now. Ford is a story. I mean, they're already selling those hundreds of thousands of cars. Rivian, you know, hopes to get to that level at some point, but it's been a pretty epic rise here in RIVN over the last 2 weeks, right? In anticipation, June 9th, I think. The first one actually rolls out, I believe, to the public there in the United States. So let me know if anybody in the chat is grabbing an R2 and what that looks like. And yeah, we're excited to do that in our house here, maybe depending on how SpaceX goes. Neil, maybe we buy 2 R2s.
Well, I don't want to. We had someone on the floor always say, like, before the big trades come, like, don't celebrate too early. You'd have the guys the guys on the floor would sometimes go to the LCBO getting ready to celebrate when they were anticipating a big trade. It's like, do that after, for sure. But hey, why not? Well, I don't know. I'm not that interested just yet in going electric. I think maybe in the next couple of years. But one point is, I think just to go back from Ford, GM as well is trying to go. Like this sucker on a monthly chart, this has been pretty steady. And maybe this is going to be a little bit of a something. But it is 9 o'clock, everybody. You know what we do around this time. We got to get into. We're going to get into some business, and then we're going to get into our watch list.
Yeah, this hour is brought to you by Centerpoint Securities. Centerpoint gives you access to an extensive, and this is very key, an extensive, easy-to-borrow list from multiple locate sources alongside a trading platform designed specifically for active day traders. Please visit one word, centerpointsecurities.ca/TraderTV to try it today. And here's another big one. Get your first 90 days commission free. So if you start today, you get 90 days commission free. And hey, man, it's going to be a good one. We've talked about PDT rules coming through again. It's centerpointsecurities.ca/TraderTV to grab that deal. We want to thank them, and make sure you do scan said QR code in front of you right now. But yeah, we're excited here. NASDAQ now going lower. We wrote down a short. Our very first idea, of course, was short the NASDAQ. Then the number comes out and it just gets absolutely crushed. We've seen the volume come out. I mean, not absolutely crushed, but here's the volume really picking up there on the non-farms payroll number, downside, upside. So creating some more, you know, possibilities for that rate hike that we're looking for. I'm not looking for, but the market's looking for. So right down there, we'll see if it can bounce off. We're pretty close to 30,000 right now on the NASDAQ. What a number, 30,000, man. I remember we were talking about this thing at 25, 20, now 30. Wow, what a wealth creator the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 and the overall stock market has been for the last, let's say, 125 years. So, I mean, absolutely amazing. You know, the fact that it's down 1.4% might be the start of something a little more dramatic happening, you know, in the NASDAQ, but we still have a little ways to go here before the top, I would think. You know, a lot of people calling early times still on AI. And I said this yesterday to everybody. It's like, if you're in the stock market and you didn't realize that we could actually have red candles instead of just all green candles, then, you know, it's time to maybe rethink about the portfolio and either get into indexes or, you know, just buckle up, because, you know, you can't enjoy the ride one way and then not expect it to eventually retrace down a little bit. We've had multiple, in this huge bull run, like I said, over the last 50, 60 years, there's been multiple drawdowns, and, you know, we still wind up saying, I mean, I don't know, there's been whatever there's been today, you know, 200 or less than that trading days in the year. There's probably been about 130 trading days or so. You know, how many of those days are all-time highs? I mean, if you look back, you'd be surprised at how many of those exactly were all-time highs. So, you know, we're in it right now. Pick and choose. Bitcoin bouncing off 62,000 right now. So we'll have a quick look at what IBIT's maybe going to do at that $60,000 level. This is another name that's on the sticky note and going to be on the watch list, I assume, today as we talk about crypto and some earnings plays, including Lululemon.
But just before we go back to the desk, speaking of the S&P 500, aftermarket at 5:15 tonight, we get to find out who's going to be added. The current odds are pretty much non-decisive, for being real about it. Like, this is very well distributed. Like Reddit at 16, LM 14, Pure Storage, a firm at 9. Yeah, there's no front runner this time. I feel like usually you have a decisive front runner. We're not really seeing that going in today. But it is after the bell, and of course that'll be, in effect, the third Friday of this month, which I guess will be what, like the 19th, and then effect on the Monday. So technically speaking, it's actually on effect on the Monday, but like the real trade happens on the Friday. So we'll see who's going to get the addition. Usually it's a nice little bump, and then they sell the news, but we're not going to know until after the bell.
All right, guys, 757.14 is where we closed out on the SPY yesterday. We're basically down 0.2% already, barely holding on to 752. So right away, we're staring 750 in the face as that support level. And as you'll see here, we double bottomed off the 4-hour, both on the 3rd and then again early yesterday morning as well, defending 750. But we are putting in lower highs. So that is something to be alert to. We didn't quite make it up to 760 yesterday that we had on previous days. So that's technically a lower high. If we lose 750, that'll be a lower low. So we're looking at 750 as support Adara, 757 yesterday's close as resistance 1.
Definitely don't resist signing up for our Trader TV Live watch list. It is free. It comes right to your inbox every day. You can sign up here with the link in our description. It is free. It gives you info on what's reporting, what reported the night before, what are any events on watch, economic data. You cannot miss it. Please check it out, guys. In the meantime, before we get to our rundown, I quickly want to mention here this marijuana moment article. There's a couple headlines on cannabis that I looked into here. For one, White House pushing Congress to keep hemp CBD products legal by amending broad ban that's set to take effect later this year. That was the first headline. The other involves the uplisting of TrueLive. So those are the only headlines I'm seeing here in cannabis. Wanted to mention both of them. Now let's get straight into our watch list with Lululemon to the downside. This one taking quite the tumble after guidance weakness and management clearly expressing some concerns about media coverage as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Adara. We're none too plussed about the negative media coverage that they've been getting, especially around some of the product failures as well as, a lack of demand. Let's talk about the actual numbers, though. A marginal revenue beat there of basically 2.47 above 2.43 with EPS virtually in line. I mean, $1.69 versus $1.68. But as Adara mentioned, that full year guide slashing full year 2026 revenue in the range of 11 to 11.15. That implies a 1% reduction in net revenue year over year. That's not a headline that anybody wants. And then there's worse. Obviously, margin contraction here on gross margins, dropping 410 basis points down to 54.2%, being largely blamed on import tariffs as well as steep markdowns. Again, I don't really see the markdowns, but they do have some outlet stores as well that they could mark down products at. Comps let's talk about American sales versus Chinese sales. They dropped 6% year over year for comparable store sales in the United States. That was not the case in China. They continue to grow there. So a bit of a divergence away, as well as their away from body yoga product campaign, as I mentioned at the top of the show, was pretty dismal, saying management saying anyway, completely failed to generate the expected consumer traction. So yet another failed product. And last but not least, their operating income dropped aggressively, 37% down, contracting by 730 basis points, basically blaming it on employee overhead expenses, aggressive brand activations, and unexpected proxy contest expenditures. Are having to hire proxy advisory firms, of course, as well as legal services to fend off Elliott Management's aggressive proxy fight. Adara.
You guys feeling sweet or sour on Lululemon today?
Neither. I mean, look, the new CEO it'll be a year next quarter, I think. So, you talk about like the turnaround and getting the ship right within a year. So I don't necessarily think that it's completely dead. It's a difficult, when you're a fad business, which fitness apparel and fitness in general, it tends to be difficult to get back what you have once lost. All of that said, it's going to get cheap enough at some point that you're going to get a bounce. There was a decent bounce off the 200 period on the monthly. That was okay. It had support before at the 250 to 270 level that happened a couple times. But it does feel like it wants everything back in. If it breaks $100, I think that 80 area technically is just a buy. But for today, I was hoping $100 we'd see that typical SSR bounce type level where you're looking for it to be short sell restricted, you trend down into it, and then you break 100, maybe the 105 as well. Something similar to what CrowdStrike didn't give us yesterday. Like CrowdStrike was similar, but it's like it gave you it already had the pre-market low and then was putting in higher lows and actually just ended up holding that trend for the dips. I don't know that I'd be as confident in the dip buyers of Lulu at the open as Crowd when everyone was buying tech on the dip. So CrowdStrike was getting caught up in that. I could see Lulu breaking lower and having to wait for that 100 or 105 level.
All right, so here we go. So I just I took some of the numbers here, put them up onto a tweet, and then this is the trade idea that I'm talking about in the chat there. This was a bad quarter. I mean, there's no denying it, right? I mean, you go down 3%, down 410 basis points. This is stuff that we took from the watch list. Make sure you go grab that watch list at Trader TV. It's in the link in description. But, the trade idea that I'm trying to work around with is right down here. I talked about this earlier. This is a PE of just 9, right? And, I mean, when you get that kind of pessimism, is there a potential relief rally that may come into this name? I'm not going to sit there at 10, and this is just an E-signal chart. I circled the 108 where we were at today. So I think at some point you're going to look back and say, hey, maybe just it was so bad that maybe it's good. And I, yesterday when it was trading up here, I was like, this is going to be a kitchen sink quarter. So, try to describe what that was. And we had it, right? It's a bad sort of look at the distribution, a bad look moving forward, inventory woes, all this kind of stuff. And, Sharif was mentioning they're blaming some of the sales that they've had to take, mark down pricing, and there it goes with the margin compression. So, at some point with those kind of numbers, it should start to take back some of these levels, but you don't want to catch if anything, it's a 5-day trade, maybe, hold it for a week, hold it for a little bit longer, I don't know, but, it's been bad, and there's the bleed again today, and it's been now 3 straight days. Like, this was just at 130, right? So I think we could get a relief rally back up into that 130 mark, and then you'd be like, oh, well, that was 15% that I missed, and I think you might be willing to miss all of that. I mean, it's a tough one, and you could take it against that 110. You take a 108, you take a 105 against 100. You're 5 to 10% worth of risk with, if things are a turnaround story. And we know new management, even though the name could be, really in the doghouse, new management could get it going. And we'll wait to see if that is eventually something that Lululemon gets off here. So we'll wait for it. I'm looking at that 108 level, but definitely not going to be sitting there watching it. If it bounces around and tries to find a base, then fine. It's going to be SSR today. So a big move down for Lululemon has already happened and could flush right off the open. Let's wait till 9:25 until we see the imbalances there.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the thing. We'll have to wait to see I think it's 12 days away now for the next Fed meeting. And, you know, we have it right here. Yeah, it says, there it is. Yeah, 12 days, 4 hours. So it's still going to be a firm no-go. You know, if anything, there's a chance for a cut still. But then if we move all the way out to December, I mean, look here, right now, today, we're at 350 to 375. So if you go out to December right now, there's only a 30% chance we stay there. Neil was pointing this out before, that you have a 21% chance of 2 rate hikes now by the time December hits. Like, that's tough. That's going to be tough for some of those. And we had Michael Noss coming on earlier this morning and talking about how a name like Google, and by the way, like last year, Google bought, I think it was like about $45 or $50 billion worth of their own stock. Well, they just resold it again right back there. So they bought it last year. Who knows at what pricing? Obviously lower than where it is now. They're in a stock buyback, so they bought back all their stock last year, put some cash to work, and then sold it all to everybody there in the last couple days. And we talked about Warren Buffett and some of the, you know, the names that were in there with Berkshire buying it and Goldman and everyone buying it back from them. But that's a nice windfall also for Google. Buying back, they had a huge buyback on last year. So this year, they just dumping some of them again back into the market. Is that a sign that maybe we should be dumping some of our Google shares or not? At the end of the day, there's a lot of money floating out there. And if it's a good company, it can definitely be bought up. But can these other companies that don't continue to make money, that are obviously getting frothy based on what's coming next Friday, Rocket Lab, ASTS, all these other names, are they able to survive in a 50-point rate cut or rate increase environment? Soon to come and soon to find out about those names. So if you know, if the predicting market is right and we get those, I mean, it was only predicting really one raise, by December. But if that 20% somehow hits, you know, then I think the market could be in a little bit of trouble. Watch out for the IWM. As well, and any name, any quantum name, any nuclear name, even these names like an IRAN or
even the EVs too.
Well, the EV space is cooked anyways, but I think that, you know, that's going to be further pressure as well. Unless you're paying for things in straight cash, you may have to get a financed deal. So, all right, Sharif, what's next is crypto. All right, well, if you have a lot of money in crypto, then you potentially aren't buying any new EVs.
Take a look here, guys, at MSTR. This is at pre-market lows. And we know, at least from a sentiment perspective, the sale of 32 Bitcoin from Michael Saylor's MSTR, which was reported earlier this week, that's being seen as a lot of maybe the reason for this steep drop lower in Bitcoin.
You're absolutely right, Adara. And he took to X yesterday to kind of express his opinion about that. His thesis is, look, there's a lot of AI build out right now to the tune of $400 billion in the past 6 months. And his opinion is that the money's rotating out of Bitcoin in order to fund that. Whether you believe him or not, that's for reasonable people to disagree on. But we can all agree on the fact that there's been 13 consecutive days of outflows from these spot ETFs, specifically from Bitcoin, with BlackRock taking the brunt of that. IBIT, hyper concentrated, guys. 75% of all withdrawals from these spot ETFs for Bitcoin did come out from IBIT. Just to quantify that, that's $3.3 billion from the 4.4 that's bled out, all hyper concentrated in IBIT. Some food for thought. Also, open interest on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Why am I talking about this? Because Joey, the open interest is dropping here to 2.5-year lows, 97,935, I believe, for Bitcoin futures, dropping again, as I said, to the record low 2.5 years. It confirming, according to analysts, that the macro hedge funds are actively dismantling basically their trade arbitrage positions. That's something to think about as well. And then last but not least, guys, $1.8 billion in forced liquidations. We've been talking a lot about the leverage in Bitcoin, both to the upside and the downside. Of those 1.8 billion, 1.35 billion were long forced sales. So the exchange just basically closed out the position on behalf of the trader there, Adara.
Lots of weakness in crypto. Are you guys watching it today?
Every single day until the day the short don't work. So, well, I mean, 60,000 is still a level that we can get to here today. You're only at 62, so there's plenty of room for it to get down there daily. And then you cross that bridge when we, I say when, but if we lose 60,000, you cross that bridge into the 50 to 52 range when we get there. So yesterday was the only day that it gave. Actually, there was another one where it was like a pop and then drop. That'd be last Friday where it was a pop and drop, and then yesterday was a pop and drop. I'm looking at the close, 35.75 into 36, like right into here, play that short, and then every other resistance level after that. And just be patient and willing to always go from one to the other. Like if Bitcoin goes sideways for a little bit, there's always BM&R, which has also been pretty good to the south side. A little bit more strength, but when it shows you a level as well, like the $18 level has been a good one. I can pivot over to that if we find it. What do you have from here? Iran's claim that it fired warning shots at U.S. warships was false. Wow, okay. Well, that coming from the U.S., expected. Oil's not moving on that headline, so, well, I mean, oil's been moving down, but that was already happening. So.
Look, yesterday we talked about IBIT. It was on, I mean, here's yesterday's note on IBIT, right? 36.50 short. So we took it, and it was, it was my number one P&L on the day. So take that for what it's worth. But there it is right here. IBIT yesterday called the 36.50, took it, and yeah, it is what it is now. And it wasn't actually even that. I mean, it's funny because the market really rebounded yesterday, and Bitcoin didn't until the very end of the day, and then it lost its way a little bit there into the last hour. But we shorted up there, and here's the short yesterday, and we ran into. I mean, it's too bad I didn't take more pictures of this near the end of the day, screenshots, because we did hold that thing to the downside and got out finally when it broke down into here. So that was about an 80 cent or more trade right there, just trying to pick out some tops. So again, it has returned on the note here, but we write this thing when it's all the way up here. At that time, I wrote down 35.75, which was right into this area. So we're looking to go short into yesterday's closing area. So if that winds up happening again, we're going to try to stay disciplined and do that. But at the same time, I really like the 200 period moving average. So I'm going to be shorting in and around 35.50. We'll wait though. I'm still going to try to be patient and wait for my price, but maybe we start it somewhere around 35.50. I think it's kind of a no-brainer here to keep on shorting when you have a trend that looks like this, man. None of us obviously smart enough to call this move downside, but it's happening, and there it goes right now. So huge move back in for Bitcoin. The only one that I know that was talking about the short there that's in our chat was, I think it was JKL, was shorting MSTR and kept on talking about shorting BM&R and all those things. So congratulations to you, man. You really called that one. So we could sit here and analyze whatever, but that takes a lot to call something like that. So that's good. Congratulations to you on that. And then MSTR, and I mean that with all seriousness, like that was a great call. And then MSTR too, you've been pumping the short on that on our chat. So there you go, man. Big calls by big traders, always puts a smile on this guy's face. We have Tesla there, which was a nice upgrade. That's why it made my list. Let's see if it comes down into 418 is where we're going to be looking at it here today. Tesla on a run. Let's go hear it from the desk.
Notable upgrade. I think perhaps more notable than the upgrade is the massive price target increase for Tesla here from JPM. They raised their price target by more than 200%.
Yeah, exactly. 227% to be exact, Adara. This marks one of the most stunning capitulations in the history of Wall Street for a decade. JP Morgan has been one of the biggest Tesla detractors, and now it's all changing, and that's not by accident. There's a changing of the guard. So, longtime bearish auto analyst Ryan Brinkman, I believe his name is, officially handed over the reins to Rajat Gupta, who's now going to be covering Tesla for the big bank. Weeks after taking the reins, Gupta completely scrapped Brinkman's multi-year 60% downside thesis. So again, changing of the guards, not by accident here. And some comparisons being drawn to Amazon. So just let me make this kind of case for a second. To justify the massive new valuation model, JP Morgan explicitly compared Tesla's current life cycle to Amazon's early days. The note argues that Tesla's active vehicle factories sort of as a live test bed for the Optimus humanoid robot, and it kind of mimics Amazon's internal integration of the Kiva robotics subsidiary when they took that over. So kind of a bit of a comparison there. They're also projecting Tesla's revenue to double to $203 billion by 2030. However, that's a good side. What's the bad side here? They're saying, look, free cash flow not expected to turn positive for Tesla until 2029. CapEx being single-handedly blamed as a result of that. And then they've completely abandoned their traditional automotive delivery multiples. Instead, they're mapping out 5 highly speculative, but what they're saying are interlinked sectors to justify their new valuation. We're talking about automotive. We're talking about energy storage, robotaxis, humanoid, and software licensing. And based on those 5, they're projecting, or they're modeling, I should say, $3.9 trillion addressable market by 2035, Adara.
How are you guys feeling about TSLA? I know Sean said, you said you're looking at it today.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just like the upgrade. I mean, we talked about that upgrade a couple times there. Everything that Sharif was talking about, Neil and I were just talking about, you know, the fact that it's probably going to be a lot more than just what we're thinking right now with Optimus and with Robotaxi and with all the AI that they have in place right now, all the data that they've collected. You know, can they sell that? How's that going to happen? What's all the talk about SpaceX and that merge? And is there going to be any value add into Tesla based on that? Will there be hype surrounding just nonsense, really? I mean, they buy Tesla for no reason sometimes, and they sell it for no reason, it seems like. We're not worried about the cars anymore. You know, we're looking at this as a longer-term play. And, I mean, we had on, I think it was Steve Teilman was also talking about it, basing out and looking for it to get back up to $500 right now. And, I mean, this looks pretty strong. I mean, it's a Mag 7 name. I mean, I don't know if that term really exists too much anymore, but, you know, down to 410 and holding the 200 period, sloping up 50. And I just go back again to something that Steve said, is something that I've been saying this whole time as well, is that the ball don't lie. And if I'm going to be taking trades based on different technical indicators, then, you know, my opinion on Tesla, Neil's opinion, nobody's opinion really matters. If you're investing, you want to look for a short-term or long-term. And if you're going long-term on Tesla, I do think there's a chance for this thing to get it back up to $500. I don't know if it has enough juice right now. It might with SpaceX, depending on how that goes, of course. If that's not well received, people can think that maybe, you know, Elon and sort of this whole futuristic approach has lost some of its way. I don't know that to be true. Tesla's also working on, you know, big battery packs. And, you know, we talked about where power generation is going to be coming from. I like what Tesla's doing. I like the thought of getting longer here off the 200 period moving average. I'm personally pretty full boat right now on Teslas, but I still like the stock. I mean, I really enjoy driving the car, and I think there is more upside here as humanoids, right? Robots start to become a thing. And will he be outpriced by China and all that? Yes, but you know, at the end of the day, people that own Tesla and love it will probably buy Optimus at some point.
You buying a Chinese robot to go into your house? I know the X-Pen.
I'm not buying any robot probably to go into my house. I have a Roomba. I have a Roomba.
But if and when you they do come around or get priced enough or whatever, would you trust it? Would you do it? I don't know. And I think that at the end of the day, you know, I don't think I'm smarter than the moving averages. Thanks, Steve. No, somebody is buying it at the 200 period moving average. Someone's buying it on the trend since the April low. It looks to me like it's more like the low teens that have been the bottom, like down in here about like the 415 level. But that's, you know, the trend is your friend to the end when it bends. And this has been on an obvious trend for sure. Let's go talk some chips, but also it's 925, so it's going to quickly throw up the imbalance and see if anything is there. Shocker. At the top of the list, I bid 500,000 sell. That's the only thing of any significance. Nokia with a small sell imbalance of 460. The desk?
Let's go into the bell here. Let's quickly talk about chips because MRVL is still poised to close 50% higher on the week, more or less, even with this pullback this morning. NVIDIA also on watch.
Yeah, that's the angle I'm going to take here. Senator Elizabeth Warren. She's invited the much-known CEO Jensen Huang to testify before the Senate Banking Committee. Should be on the 11th of June. We have yet to hear back from NVIDIA in an official capacity or Jensen himself. But this is probably triggered by a specific and a newly unreleased Department of Justice document, which, or actually a criminal indictment, I should say, which alleges a multi-million-dollar illicit pipeline that smuggled restricted NVIDIA H100s and H200s into China through shadow networks that are being alleged here, not just Singapore, not just Mongolia now. Now we're talking about Malaysia, and now we're talking about Thailand as well as proxy countries. There's also this 0% market share stance that Jensen has had. Elizabeth Warren is slated or believed to be explicitly looking at showing a report that NVIDIA still commands 55% share of China's AI accelerator market, to kind of challenge Huang's statement that his revenue is near zero. So we'll see if this even happens, Adara, and how the dynamic between the two goes.
Yeah, with 2 minutes until the bell, let's also quickly talk PL, Planet Labs, while we're here. This is just continuing to make pre-market lows as we await the open. Strong growth, though, especially for their revenue. Yeah,
I'm just pulling it up over here. Yeah, decent 3 cents a share loss versus the 4 pennies a loss expected. $94.2 million in revenue ahead of the 89.9. RPOs increased, Adara, 81% year over year.
Strong growth here for PL, but not so good for the stock. How do you guys feel about PL and or chips today?
I think you got to pass on PL. Let that one settle down after earnings. But for the chips, I like SMCI to the south side. Already sliding a little bit, but head and shoulders on the 15-minute chart. That gives you 48. There's also this 46.5 to 47 range for any kind of a pop. The way we're heading to the downside early, though, I'm always willing to be short. Like if it does a complete dump, short the first available on-trend play. So yeah, I'm going to be shorting SMCI and some pops today. It hasn't looked that good. And PL, we know what's going to happen next week. You know, so I think a lot of people are trying to ring the register out in front of SpaceX.
All right, guys, with only 1 minute to go right now. We'll see if Tesla falls. Oh, my mic is having issues again. Okay, then we will go in.
The mic is getting geared up for the open.
The mic. It's trying to go again. We're going to wait for 418 right here again to come in for Tesla. That might be the first one. So we're going to sit there, take half a unit or so at 418 there on Tesla and just wait to see where it goes from there. Maybe an out would probably be 416 or so if it does break down below. I mean, 417's been the low, so want to give it a little bit more room. And we know that how this name can move with only 10 seconds left. We want to thank Origenics, of course, for sponsoring. One more time, go find its symbol, NYSEOGEN, their OGEN link in description to find out more about them and their concussion treatments. There we go. We don't have quotes right now. They're very frozen right now. So,
they're back.
Look at my stock go. Why don't we talk about IoT? There goes Internet of Things one more time. Up now 5%, and that's a banger. That's that Drake stock that we kept on talking about. That's a chicken dinner winner for all y'all. So there it goes, man. Nice move there on IoT. Nothing but love to the upside there as Internet of Things now up 5. We'll have to watch out for that as it tries to go. Tesla also looking to make some moves upside there, 421 and ticking higher now. There goes TSLA and IoT. We like IoT a lot, and we're happy to be in that one as that's starting to go. S&P 500 ticking lower. Watch out, 30,000 breaking as we speak.
Yeah, LOD approaching heavily on Bitcoin as well. SMCI already heading to the downside, unfortunately. Not looking too good. Some of the chip names that we didn't get to. Micron catching a small bid. So it made a bit of a bottom tail here. Micron trying to catch a little bit of a bid. And NVIDIA, which we did not discuss, NVIDIA just got smoked off of the open. So $2 down instantly there on NVIDIA. One of the heavier movers when you see the market coming down. Looks like it's NVIDIA.
Okay, it's NVIDIA. Okay, so
well,
good.
I mean, I didn't look at AMD, so.
No, I mean, it makes sense. The market is coming down here, so we do have to try to find out why potentially this market is coming, because right now it's Tesla booming, and there goes the market right back there to the upside again. So, you know, maybe there is going to be a little bit of love here for Tesla. But the market trying to go back up. I'm just trying to look here to see what we want to do with it, because now it's 423 and it's gonzos to the upside there. Lulu, we can have a quick look here as well and see what that name is trying to do for us. Lululemon bouncing a little bit. We do get, I mean, we're looking at that 108 if it does come into play there today. We'll see if there's any love back in the upside there for Lululemon. Who knows, man? Not a great report for that. Like I said, I'm still excited about this IoT. Hopefully it can hold the bid as it comes right back in right now. It was down earlier today. So, you know, potentially just some exuberance coming back in for Internet of Things. And then we saw ARM was getting bled all morning as well. There goes Marvell to the downside. ARM, look at the market being bought right back up, right? So we got to try to find out who's buying what and where and when and how, because right now, there we go again on ARM down to 264 and bought right back up to 370 again. So, sorry, yeah, 370. So nice little $7 move to the high side there on ARM.
They just seem to, the buyers seem to come in, and the sellers are coming into USO. So you just broke low of the day on oil futures. And we haven't really seen too much beneath 135 in the last couple of days, only for a matter of seconds. That could give a bit of a buoy to the overall market. Some of the stocks that I'm looking at they're not bouncing. Intel hit 105, is continuing lower. SMCI, which, all right, if it's going to be relatively weak, I suppose if the market is going up, then we can get some kind of a fade at some point in SMCI. Oh, QNT as well, though. Right. There's a...
I was trying to look at that one.
I'm just going to quickly pull. I'm going to pull this over so you can see the level 2. There's a buyer at 59.25, which is getting chewed up right now, but it did not break that 60. So it's holding range 59 to 60. I would love to see it retest the 60 level, but if all we end up doing is trend down, I'm going to look for the first double bottom to punch short or maybe take a shot at that volume weighted average price. So that it did give you the 60 short, but I was looking at SMCI to try to short the pop instead. And it's not popping. Everything else is.
Okay, we had some news yesterday with Boeing as well. We can have a quick little look over there at Boeing. So Tesla's coming back in just a little bit, so that's another name that we're trying to look at. IBIT and the futures. I mean, crypto 62.2. Boeing, not much going on with that one, so we'll take a pass on Boeing right now. IBIT, I mean, again, we wrote down yesterday's close. It's not there, so we got to wait maybe for that 200 period moving average at 35.30s coming into play. Who knows? We did mention earlier that NVDA was making a move down. There is that other name, STI. Okay, doing nothing. STI as well today, Solidion. Wow, 42 and change. This name is very, very impressive, needless to say. Up another 85% today. STI's had quite the run, man. I mean, this was a $5 name a couple days ago, up to $41, and then that CMND. CMND Clearmind going again $4. Well, it's popping in the early trade, but not really going right now. Hitting intraday highs about 480. Sorry, pre-market highs of 480. Now intraday highs into VWAP 410. That's where you're kind of looking to break through and then watch out for a 480 take. This name's going to have to halt, I think, if it's going to get back up there. Watch out for one little spike up there on CMND. And as we wait for more trades to come in, here comes Tesla downside. So is the market right now.
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's really not moving. Surprising. I thought we'd...
anything.
Like, if you either break the low or go. Like, if you're either shorting pops in that thing or you're going to break the low. Redwire went red. Yeah, whatever. Went red briefly. It's still going to be in the red. But little bottoming tail candle happening here. You saw Planet Labs off of the open with the sell imbalance as well. But I like that bottoming tail potential reversal candle. So I'm just going to go for this one. It's at that 21 level, which, heck, I put in the note that I kind of like 21. Didn't really think this was going to be the first thing that would come into play because that price was $1 lower on a $22 stock. But here we are. It's trying to bounce. Redwire has been obviously on a bit of an uptrend, but it's had some support right in and around this 21. That's where the bottom was in the afternoon. So trying to catch that bid. At some point, Bitcoin is going to move. I seriously doubt it's not going to move all day long, but still want to wait for at least another 30, 40 pennies before getting that short. If it's not breaking the low, then I want to wait for it to get a bit higher to fade. JKL is long the Knicks. Market to be determined. Yeah, the Knicks are impressive.
Yeah, 6-point dogs today. Right now, we do have
hard to bet against.
Dollar Club right now. We took it out, but here comes right back in again on Tesla. So we'll take out a little bit for that dollar off of 419, and now we'll wait to see where it goes from here. We actually got more than that. We got 420.60s. Right there. But here it comes. We still are bidding our 18s. We're just taking a shot at that right there. We'll see if it comes back in, which it's doing quite dramatically right now for Tesla. But we got to be a little bit patient and try to wait. I'm waiting for that 418.25 marker. I'll take maybe a little bit there. We just bounced off 418.75. Maybe we could take a little bit there. But we're just going to try to see if these upgrades on Tesla, if it wants to go up, we'll see. But I mean, look at the market, man. It's starting to bleed lower now. So we always want to make sure we're watching stocks that are moving in the way that we think. So Amazon, we've seen a downside push in Amazon over the last couple of days. Look what they're doing. Nice retracement back upside. I really think Apple, doesn't it come next week as when is WWDC?
Monday.
Right. So
usually keynote at 1 p.m. Eastern, pretty much always.
Yeah. So I really like Apple, man. I mean, Apple right here. I think this is going to be a stock that people are going to want to buy, especially heading into WDC when they're just going to prove that you don't need even computers. You just need a phone to experience many of the AI benefits that the general public's going to have. So yeah, Apple is. I think you're going to look back and not see a 313 for a minute. Let's see what happens at WDC, but I really like Apple today. In a down market, Apple up 1%. I think that says everything.
It's This is Cerebrus all over again. You couldn't get the fill the opening candle breakdown on QNT. It's not like it's SSR or anything. It literally gapped $1 when it broke through that opening bar low. Just gapped $1 downside. So unless you crossed a full $1 on your short, zero chance. I'm not crossing $1 on a $50 stock. That's absolute insanity. But QNT is 7.5%, almost 8% to the downside. Is what it is. I think sometimes you just have to sit in it. Just sit in the short because the spread's going to be too big. Tesla. Only gave it about 20 pennies. I'm talking about red wire here, the 21 to the prior bar. I'll take another shot if things will lighten up a little bit, but that red wire might just, QNT might just have to be short the pop kind of situation because that one's absolutely bleeding. It's very unsuccessful IPO because remember, 60 was the issue price. So you're underwater, not just if you bought it yesterday. If you got the issue, you're also underwater. First pop, we'll try to be able to be short this. And IBIT is not trying to come up at all. All we're doing is breaking trend and heading downside. I want to see if I can get a better fill maybe in BMNR. Again, don't want to be chasing things too far. Yeah, BMNR is a little bit weaker today. So short the pop into VWAP there will be one play, and then the other way for IBIT is just going to be also whichever one gets to VWAP first, I think.
Yeah, we're sitting right now in Tesla. I don't know where this thing's going to wind up going, man. And it's not right now not going in the right direction for me. But we're just long right here at 418.50. It's $1 out. So we were $1 in. Now we're $1 out on TSLA. And honestly, like this is kind of par for the course. I mean, the market is making this move down. I like the level. We didn't necessarily get into it. I mean, you can see what price we have, so it's not the end of the world no matter really what happens here. But trying to see if there's a little bit of a hold out for TSLA. We know it has these moves, man. We showed this to you guys, every day. It's up and down. Like yesterday, it actually rinsed down to, okay, that's 932. That 418 level, and then 10 minutes later, we have 426. So I think it's worth a shot here on Tesla. If we wind up taking a hit on our first trade, so be it. But this is what we're doing right now, looking for Tesla. We had to take Palantir against us a little bit yesterday, and it wound up working out just fine until it retraced back down again, is what Palantir wound up doing yesterday. So shout out to Palantir not holding the bid there yesterday. But now it's trying to hold the bid again. So we can see right now on Palantir's business, standing on business now at 140. So we'll see if that can come back into play. The market doesn't really look like it wants to bounce any higher here. So yeah, a little bit of trouble brewing, it seems like, in big cap land maybe, and especially in tech land. I mean, we looked at Apple, that's not doing too much, but gold is now down. We talked about that earlier today as well. Gold getting hit, down 2% right now on those job numbers. Silver also getting hit.
They're basically selling everything.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. Is I think
Broadcom's going to take 400.
Yeah, here goes Tesla's going to take 415. We're going to drop out of this one if it does break back down below 4. Actually, the stop that I have right here is 415. Has to break through here it goes. Has to break through 415. So we don't need to average it now, man. We don't want to average it into losing trades. Here comes Tesla all the way down. I guess that JP Morgan upgrade is not really that significant. Bleeding to the downside right now is Tesla with this whole market. Today might be the day we don't get a bounce. Who knows? We'll be patient with it.
It's certainly possible. Broadcom, like I said, Broadcom at 400 attempting a break. QNT. Might just broke. It might be a short on the move to the upside on this stock. So whenever it goes up, just going to try to be on the offer, keep prices. So for now, we're into it. Want to be short underneath the prior all-time low.
Wow, still going.
It's an IPO, so I mean every low is going to be an all-time low. Let's go to Adara at the desk. What do you have for us, Adara?
Oh, it was just brief. I was just going to say there that it's funny because with the Tesla upgrade, as much as that price target was so massive, they really only upgraded it to neutral.
I know.
So it's like they still didn't like it that much. They just thought it was going to go up a lot. Like it's a weird one.
I still think it's significant because it's coming from a large bear. Like it would be the equivalent of Michael Burry coming out and saying, I believe, I may not have, forget about the price target, but if the dude just said he believes in Palantir and NVDA at these prices, like that'd be a gigantic shift. I'm just saying, it is what it is. Yeah. For now, the market is continuing to bleed. Maybe the dip buyers don't like it today. We're gonna find out. Some of this is gonna get put to the test. Now, I'm looking at like ARM every single day. Someone has come in and bailed out ARM to like an absurd extent. Right? Like, look at these bottoming tail wicks. That fills in this gap at 350. If nobody's on the bid at 350, well, first of all, I'd be shocked. It's going to be 10% down if it gets to that price. I'd maybe look for a reversion just because it's done it 4 days in a row. The way I see it, if a pattern has happened every single day, it's worth taking a shot as a trader. All right, they're defending 55 on QNT. This is probably going to happen at every single, all the even dollars, 60, 55, and 50. I bet you the underwriters are going to defend these prices because they're trying not to get embarrassed. So every pop is a scalp. If it breaks, let it break, short the next pop, and then move on to the next. So QNT took the one shot. It was a miss of the breakdown, but if you leave your offers in or just wait for it to come back up, you can just try to jump back into the trade. And if it ever breaks 60 bucks, I'm not trying to short it if it's back through that $60 level. So we'll take our shot and see if we can't get another trade in it. But every single time they defend the bid like that, I'm just going to get in, get out, get your scalp trade and move on. IBIT, still nothing going. Hasn't broken the low, hasn't gotten to VWAP. Not going to rush into this trade. See it, hit it, and wait for it.
Yeah. I mean,
what's that going on?
This is Google. I mean, this is the thing what we're trying to talk about. Like, you know, there is strength in some of the space today. You know, you looked at Apple going higher here. You're looking at Google trying to go higher. So if there is a rebound in this market, man, maybe this is where we should be looking, right? Not picking out names that have absolutely tanked, like a Tesla or, you know, some of these other names. Play in some strength. And right now, it looks like that strength is pretty present here in our friend. I mean, we talk like that all the time, but I'm serious, man. We like Google around here. Let's just wait to see what winds up happening now with Google into 371. And you know, I kind of said yesterday that I thought there was maybe a 400 handle that could be present on Google pretty soon. And you know, maybe we're getting to that point right now. So Google, nice upside move. I mean, 400 is still a while away, but we are close enough to getting back to that level. That's the all-time high for Google, bouncing right there off your 50, the 50-period moving average on your daily there, upside for Google. Eli Lilly's been quite a nice story, as we talked about that the last couple of days, as their GLP-3 trying to be developed one more time. And so I think that there's some runway for them to get going as well on Eli Lilly. It touched out all-time highs, I think, right there off the open. All-time highs were, 1149.10, so we can scratch that now. A brand new all-time intraday high for Eli Lilly. So we kind of like that name, and we'll wait to see where it goes from here. But Eli Lilly, nice upside play, now bouncing off your 200 period. Could be something to look at there, LLY.
I saw Saddle in the chat saying Google and Amazon. Well,
Amazon's
now Google and Google, because Amazon just lost a bit under VWAP and lost $255. It was also relatively strong, but now starting to look a little bit weaker
well,
here.
NVIDIA's losing it.
NVIDIA's losing the bid. I saw a couple people in the chat say Intel's. Look, if it's at the low of the day, it's got company. You know, like I could holler out a million things that are having trouble. 6% down over here on Intel. What's holding up? Walmart's holding up pretty well. Nice. That makes sense. Every single time there has been a monster dip in the chips and in tech, Walmart's caught a bid off of the open, so reversals tend to happen when the other side of the trade catches the bid, then Walmart tends to pull back. I think you could see a little bit more of that today. And then Reddit is holding up a little bit. It was at least a second ago. Reddit was holding green. I think it's a pretty mixed board as to who's going to get added to the S&P 500. Today, but anybody that has a shot, I think, might have a bit of a chance to hold up, as there could be some buyers. Yeah, IBIT, it's not complete dog. It hasn't broken the low of the day. Well, the NASDAQ is. I'm just not sure sitting at VWAP is going to get us into a trade, trying to hold out. And just for the record on QNT, when 55 finally broke, like, of course, when it breaks to 57, you couldn't have gotten a fill. You probably could be short at 55 if you wanted that breakdown, but I'm going to look for green candles and then try to get an entry off of those on QNT instead. And the other IPO from yesterday, INIO, that also broke its low, but recovered. So it's still the better IPO, INIO, actually going to the upside, or at least trying to.
I mean, a couple outs for Tesla. We've got out of our bigger position, of course, when that flushed back through. We just had a 413.67, and we're able to get some out there for 1430s. But yeah, still continuing to bleed. Like, look at this market, it's now down 2%. And that's pretty brutal right now, probably for many names. And we just saw Google get back up to the upside there. Look at ARM now down. I'm completely out of ARM, but down now 9% as there it goes. There's some reweighting happening right now in many people's portfolios as they dump some of these IT-related names, AI-related names. And will that mean that NVIDIA is the next one to go? Looking to break through that 213 marker right now is NVIDIA. These are the levels that I actually like on NVIDIA. So, not 100% sure of where we're going yet with NVDA, but looks like it's trying to bounce and just trying to, like, I just typed it in another chart to see, what these levels look like. It is oversold, but so is the market. So, a bouncing spot yesterday was that yesterday? Yeah, the 4th was 211. So maybe a break in and around there of NVIDIA. But if this market wants to hold, potentially NVIDIA is the one to hold, down 2.5. Will they come back in and buy NVDA? I guess time will tell on that one, as we don't need to keep on trying to chase bottoms. We'll just wait around and see if we can grab something. Okay, here it goes, breaking lower. Look, everything's pointing down right now on this name. So it's just a matter of, do you want to join the short or do you want to wait for a potential rebound like we've seen every day? Every day the NASDAQ seems to be down, there is some sort of a rebound trade. So that's what's happening with oops, it's not happening right now in Tesla, that's for sure, as that's down to 411 now. 490 AMD, that's down, wow, that's down 6%. Everything right now trying to bleed lower, and successful bleed lower, I might add, on most of these names. Google's now pulling back a little bit. If there's going to be a rebound, maybe it's Google that leads us higher, right? Bouncing off the 200 period right now, that could be worth a look.
I have to start thinking about where the futures have a chance to bounce.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Because if you just look at the NASDAQ for the last week and a half, 29.75. That was a double barrel support, and then it was a little bit of resistance prior to that. So that could be a little bit of a level to work off of, and maybe that's where you get some mean reversions. Oh, now Bitcoin goes? Well, sorry, this is BMNR, but I just also looked up and saw Bitcoin breaking down profusely. So it looks like it's getting pretty nasty. It's going to get close to that 60,000 level. Once you're at 60,000, that's where I'd be done chasing the short and be looking for some kind of a reversal play temporarily, just for a day trade. And ARM is getting close to that 350.
Oh gosh.
So ARM gets to 350. Again, that's a bit of a reversion level. Still waiting for the next green candle on QNT. If it catches another bid, we'll try to jump into the short there. It just hasn't done much of anything yet. And you know what? If we're going to go down like this, then forget about the fact that other IPO was good. If the market's going down this way, I might pay for locates and just take a break on this too. Usually the IPOs are good for trading on day 1 and day 2, maybe 3, in terms of volume and liquidity. But if we're going down this heavily, maybe a break of VWAP there. But I got to pay for locates.
Okay, yeah, INIO right now. Yeah, down 2%. This is going to be one of the worst days.
SSR?
IREN, oh my God. I mean, some of these names.
Oh,
so I bought Google right there. We'll see. Oh, I just canceled an order on Google. I got to get that back in there. So we went long. I finally was just like, forget about it. Let's go long on something that is relatively strong. As we said, we'll flip up our game a little bit here and go long now on Google, as we just got a headline, and I apologize. It's, hard to do everything here. Hassett, the jobs data is absolutely not foreshadowing inflation. Okay, so, I mean, hopefully we don't get that inflation number coming a little higher than what we see already. I mean, we've seen CPI come through there. Today we get that jobs report as well. So we're looking, I'm looking for a rebound only because that's what the NASDAQ has told us every day. I mean, yesterday we were down 1.5%. We wind up virtually flat. We almost got to flat there yesterday. The Dow was up pretty huge. And we had some nice battle back in names like JP Morgan yesterday. I mean, it was down into 290. You're now at 310 for JPM right now. Tesla can't find a bid, man, and now Google seems to can't find a bid either. Wow, the market's getting hit pretty decently now, and it's Friday, and not a Friday today, as many longs are wondering when Saturday's about to come through. And we wait for next week already. But yeah, down 2% and bleeding lower. Bitcoin just cracked, I was about to crack, actually, I should say, $61,000 right now. Now officially like cut in half, right, from their top. It was 126.
Well, it's more than half.
Yeah, 126, so that was a 63 peg.
But
there.
don't worry.
Don't worry.
Because
Milani is going to save the day.
ETH at these prices is the same thing as Amazon at $6. But just a correction, I read that in the chat that IREN was SSR. IREN has not gone down 10%. It's down 9%.
I like IREN down there.
I don't think it, well, I'm looking at a trend reversion on this one. And someone asked this morning, like, where do you think IREN was a buy? And I drew a trend line in the chart and basically said, it's right around the 55 if you draw a trend line. It's close. And you fill this gap in here, I'll look for a bottoming tail candle on IREN. If one of the IPOs from yesterday is going to give a trade and I'm not chasing Bitcoin this far down, get it to bottoming tail, get a trend break on IREN, can be good to go. They're basically selling everything and asking questions later. When I say they, you know what I mean. Like, there's no mythical they.
Attaboy, yeah, I just heard attaboy Walmart, that's nice. Attaboy Google, man, we finally get on that bull right now and start to ride this back up to the upside as maybe there's a little bit of a turnaround. So, you know, we're gonna hold this and see if we can make a little bit back here on Google. You know, still trying to find some Tesla bids, but you know, waiting for that. I mean, the 25 period moving average is up here at 416. I mean, if we're going to play some kind of a trend break or something like that, we have to wait. Like, the trend has not been friendly today to me on Tesla because I didn't play it. You know, I played the resistance and support levels, and, you know, they just didn't hit today. And there goes Tesla downside. So a couple hits there early on TSLA, but then, you know, flip game strong, right? You got to make sure that you are able to say, hey, you know what? Get away from something and go over to something else. So right now we're 70 cents in the money on this name, Google, and you know, just waiting for it to get back up. I mean, if the futures do blast off, we did hear Google raised money quite easily there. So if they're ever in trouble, we know they can probably do it again. I think that's what's trying to help out right there. Wow, 400, 420, that'd be nice. $4,200 locked in, stepping aside. Wow, I do not blame you at all stepping aside with those kind of numbers, man. Those are some serious trades. So, yeah, congratulations to
if there is a
Jack Shock there as well. You know, congratulations on that one because that's a big day no matter what you're trading.
Little French. Where are you from? Let us know, Jacques. I'm just kind of curious because it's not Canadian dollars, or I'd say Quebecois.
Yeah, it's just a little $2.
Yes, that's about as much. See, I can say that. I can say voulez-vous coucher, like that. I know, and you know,
so je m'appelle pop songs.
Je m'appelle Neil. What else do I know in French? And because a Canadian, I understand that's bad. They literally force you to learn it in school, and I don't know. Like, I'm terrible. But look, IREN, the second this catches a bid, I'm telling you, the market's weak. Like, you got the trend break, it just starts to fire up here, and then when it gets to the even dollar at 57, they're like, no. We're not going up. We're going back into the downside. So it's still the trend break. I'm going to be all out if we get to VWAP. That's about 57. It's about $1 up from here. So I'm going to get my orders out there. So IREN, just a mean reversion play.
Let's go.
The 1 day not short Bitcoin. IBIT, like off of these lows, it's just so weak. You just got to be sitting in the short at some point. Next time, it's just take the break of the low, no matter what. I think that's the new trade.
Let's go. Oh, I didn't hear it. Oh, we have it turned down, I guess. That's why we didn't hear it. But there we go, man. I mean, now we're blasting now. We were just $1.60 in the money. We'll take a fill there on Google's. It's, starting to really appreciate now back there to the upside. So let's go Google. We're going to go 1 for 2 today. We got Tesla L, of course, and Google W temporarily. The highest we got was 371 right now. There it goes. Now we're $1.50 in the money here on Google. Let's take another fill at 371 and say, let's go to Google. We still got a big part of this trade on board. Like I said, I mean, if there's going to be a rebound, let's play it in a strong name, right? We already identified Google today. I thought Tesla had a chance to be strong as well. I don't know if I like the fact that Haas is just speaking like now, like crazy, but you know what? We're going to play this name and just ignore sort of the noise. We want to play strong names, so we're playing Google. Robinhood was really super strong yesterday. Let's go chat. Let's go chart. $87 down to 84. Weak today is Robinhood, but the question is, did you sell yesterday? I mean, these are names that there's a lot of traders trying to hold on to with that new PDT rule. I understand that, you know, there is a chance for this to get back up to the upside, and why not? Sometimes you want to play on that space, right? But I just want to make mention again that we always talk about buy the rumor, sell the news, and things like that. So, you know, with PDT rule coming yesterday, we did have a good jobs report. That was today. We did have a good, you know, move higher yesterday in Robinhood. well done, man. We had some traders in the chat, obviously talking about it. And, today it's giving just a little bit back. And if you're trying to find a base, yesterday's trade was right into there, right? So if we sort of, it's impossible. Like, I don't know why I can't zoom out better on these charts, to be honest with you. But right into there, we're getting into some levels where we may be able to see some kind of a bounce or something here on Robinhood. So watch out now, $84 and change for Robinhood. Nice move down, maybe trying to catch a bid at some point.
If it can't catch a bid at 80, that's trouble. But
BTC, by the way.
PDT rules not going to matter for Robinhood when Bitcoin's breaking $60,000. You think, I get it, it's a good story for them, but we break 60,000.
Yeah, not good at that.
No, it's not going to be good at all. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we had, I don't want to say there's going to be a flash crash, but if we're under 60,000, something
It's not a horrible call.
Something stupid could happen on Sunday morning. If you follow crypto, Sundays can be a little
Sunday morning. I think this could, break of 60 right now, I think creates.
Oh, I'm only saying it's if we're under 60K and under that level, sometimes weird stuff happens over the weekend that is just bigger when the ETFs are off, but we'll see what happens. For Iran, just very quickly, you have to try to, if I'm going long today, or this morning, I should say, the stops have to be adhered to and have to be tight. It tried to go, got the first resistance, nothing. Once it broke that bar, I'm out. I'm not trying to get into this a second time or third. None of that nonsense. I'll give it one shot on these bottoming tail candles. We get a good version, fine, fair, that'll work. Seriously? Of course this IPO is really strong. I do have a breakdown trade set for this on INIO. Like the way the market's going, like this isn't an uptrend and breaks at VWAP. So if this breaks under 31.50, I'm just going short. Into 30 even would be the play. But somehow this is magically the strong stock out there. Still
magically delicious. What was that? That was magically?
Frosted Lucky Charms.
Frosted Lucky Charms. Right, yeah, because they're magically delicious. Right, okay. Some kid yesterday at our game had a thing of corn pops, and I was like, holy crap, man, I haven't seen corn pops in a while. So he was putting some of those back to get some energy. So shout out to...
energy? Well, that's maybe not...
Sugar. Energy, that's what you're getting, right? Out of popping those corn pops there.
There's
better to do. I'm just saying, this guy was, that was the reason there for him with some corn pops. Not necessarily super healthy. But okay, Robinhood losing the bid. It's happening now with Adara. It's 10 o'clock.
You could lose a bid, Sean, like Robinhood, or you could never have a bid today like the S&P 500. Here's the 15-minute chart on the SPY, just continuing to push lower. But what about the NASDAQ? NASDAQ and SPY looking identical today. I also want to mention here USO. This even hanging out near pre-market lows. Obviously, the selling on this not as intense as what we're seeing here, either the SPY or the NASDAQ, but it is going to remain on watch here as we continue to digest headlines out of the Middle East. Keep an eye on AMZN, just seeing a headline here. Apparently their Amazon Leo, again, formerly known as Kuiper, now known as Leo, is set to launch 36 satellites on the next mission. I'm seeing comments from BNP Paribas and other analysts on potential rate hikes and when those would start, and that's all happening because we got some not so well-received economic data today. Non-farm payrolls coming in at May 2026, 172,000. It's above the estimate of 88,000 and the prior print of 115,000. Average earnings year over year and unemployment year over year, both in line with estimates. Now, again, guys, it's significant because we even had Kevin Hassett, who was notably very, very dovish. He even said that the Fed can probably wait for now. He did say that when they make a move, it should be a cut, but he didn't tell them to cut right away, and that is significant and, believe it or not, actually a change in pace. Let's talk about MRVL. This one making a big change in pace this week to the upside. As of the open, or before the open, this was set to close the week more than 50% higher. Obviously, losing some of that steam, but still a great week for MRVL after Jensen Huang called this company the next trillion-dollar company. Lululemon not looking like the next trillion-dollar company right now. This one down on earnings. Other earnings day one plays and watch include DocuSign, PL, which at least off the open got hit pretty hard and is still trading lower. Day two earnings include Broadcom and Ciena. Make sure to hit the like and hit the subscribe, and don't go anywhere, guys. We are here for you every day the markets are open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. In the meantime, Sean and Neil.
Lyndon Meyer in the chat's like, it's getting ugly for Bitcoin.
Yeah, about this rebound.
Where do you guys, basically was asking, about, personal accounts. So,
okay.
At the highs or on the way up, I sold almost all of my ETH at that time and was like, oh, I'm gonna buy dips, but not in ETH. I'm gonna do it in Bitcoin. And but I've been waiting for 50,000 all year. So I sold most of my ETH. I wish I had sold some Bitcoin up there, but I didn't. I sold ETH, and I will buy Bitcoin probably in the 50,000 range for the first time of the year. But it needs to get there. We still have not technically broken 60,000. The break we were talking about was 61. We still could see that 60. What could help the markets is USO just got a, what?
Finally, let's go right now. We got
USO
Google.
just dropped $1.30.
Okay, yeah, so that's what I was going to say. Something's happened in the market right there.
USO
we have Google right now. We were buying those dips, and oh boy, do we finally have a trade on board right now. We just got some, like, that was just a crazy spike. And, you know, right up there to 370.50, we bought there on VWAP. So I don't, you know, potential temporary there. We were talking about Geo. I was going to say Geo will find out the news, but yeah, I want to thank Andre. Andre came through to Hyde Park yesterday, so I want to say thank you so much to Andre there. You got to see me at my finest, much better coach than trader. But yeah, thanks Andre for coming through. It was really great seeing you there, and glad you were able to stop by. But there's a quick out there at 370.50. So, you know, really happy with that performance, at least on Google so far. We don't have any sales underneath our bids. So, you know, so far so good on Google. But hey, it could still lose it. That's what Neil and I were just saying, like, is everything going to go SSR? Well, if this goes SSR, then I need to go home immediately. So
There's no news on this yet.
Yeah, no news. Okay, so I don't know what that bump up was there. Did you say USO pop?
You know, USO dropped.
Sorry, the other way.
Heavy, yeah. $1.50.
All right.
Like this, and it's the biggest volume spike of the day on USO. So I think that's probably what buoyed the market a little bit. It did not do anything for IBIT. IBIT just broke the low again. It's so nasty for Bitcoin. I think we're going to see that 60,000 a little bit faster than we anticipated. Still waiting for a reversion on either ARM 150.
Oh, Jay Bronson.
350, not 150. If ARM goes to 150 today, I'd cry. Nicole. I almost said Nicola.
Veda.
My bad. Nicole Veda. Thanks for the Nike call-out. Calls have been working. I don't know. My opinion on Nike was that after Lulu reported, Nike was probably going to look better, and that's all. You know, it's just, and somebody's been buying it at my favorite number at 42, so it has some support, but it hasn't done much. Like, it's just sort of holding the bid. I just liked it in comparison to Lulu if Lulu went down, and so yeah, it's a little bit of strength. I don't think it's that much strength, but it's a little bit. You'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's Lululemon. I mean, we put a piece out there on Instagram, on Twitter. I talked about it earlier today, that, you know, this is probably a bid, and there it goes right now. So Lululemon, man, I mean, you know, I just got to follow. I followed the yellow brick road into hell with Tesla, but this would have been a good one, man. Lululemon right there off of those levels. We have it written down as a buy. So that we wrote down 108 to watch out for, but the base was 110. So I hope there was something there for somebody up now $5 on that one for Lulu. So I don't know, still a risky trade for sure, but you know, watch out. If it does come back into that 110, I think we can get a little bit of bounce back there for Lululemon. So just waiting for that to take shape a little bit. But okay, so we're trying to bounce. I'm going to get longer if we can get into VWAP again. We didn't put down too many shares down there because, again, you know, to sit there and, you know, potentially foolishly watch your accounts bleed down on a short day is not great. We were able to exit out of obviously Tesla before. I mean, look what Tesla's doing. You want to talk about exiting out of something. Right now, Tesla down to 409 there and getting lower as well. So there's definitely some, you know, as we say, blood in the streets in certain spaces, including Tesla, and including right now, I was going to look at Netflix because that just hit a scanner, but that might be upside. Yeah, so Netflix is doing fine, but it just dumped. So that's why it just showed up there as well. Watch this Netflix chart, 82.60 to whoosh, right down there into 81. Come on, mouse. Into 81.70 right there goes Netflix. So watch out here as the market is pushing those lows. And I think you even mentioned, like, you were trying to find out if this market, where the lows potentially may stop. And I don't know, man, down 2.3%. I'm trying to.
Not far from here.
Yeah, I'm trying to support this. I'm going to put another offer right in and around here of 80s. See if we can get something out again for Google because it just keeps on bouncing off of the 25 period. And until we really break and try to go higher, I'm not going to outsmart anything here. So I'm just going to sit around and wait for Google, now 70 cents in the money, and there it goes, and finally trying to break. So here we go. Now that we get that, okay. Yeah. Oh boy, man. We're doing it again right now with Google. So yeah, we lose, like I said, lose on Tesla, put it back into Google, and there it goes back to the upside. Let's now let this thing run in case the market maybe has found a bottom. I don't know.
Well, you found a bottom on, well, you maybe found a bottom on USO.
Okay.
So that gives a little bit of something to work off of. I got 3 names that I like right now for trend breaks. One of them is Intel. It's got the all-morning trend it's about to test, putting in the higher low. There's also the potential of that INIO, the IPO. If you see a short pop in, it's probably going to be that one on a trend break going to the downside. Otherwise, it's Intel here, down almost 7 points and trying to, it's just every single time it tries to break the trend, it's like, oh, fail, fail, fail. I don't want to be, again, I don't want to be short down here. I just don't. I don't want to be chasing it too far in. I want to try to catch that reversal. I feel as if that's the way the market's been going. At this time of day, you're looking for a bit of a bid. So we'll stick with that. There's the trend break. So going to jump in here on Intel. See if we can ride it into first stop at the volume-weighted average price and maybe fill in a little bit more of the gap. And we'll see. Like, there hasn't been that much in terms of like follow through on the bids, but this is looking better. You have multiple green candles for the first time at any point today on this stock. You can probably say that for a lot of things. The way this morning has been going. Bitcoin just also had a big volume spike. Hey, if Bitcoin turns, everything's probably going to turn.
Okay.
See, we didn't end up breaking 60,000. 61 is still holding on Bitcoin. Like, that's actually still a bit of a hold here on BTC. That could be a turn as well. If you get a temporary bottom on Bitcoin, the way it's been going the last couple of days, it actually might not be a bad one.
I'm still trying to sell some Google here. It's not really going as high as we thought, but maybe it will eventually. So we're going to stop now selling and wait for 371s again and just wait to see if that hits. I do like Tesla here. If it breaks this 25 period moving average, finally we might get a little bit of a bump, and it's at 411. So I did 411.50. Let's break this little top wick there on Tesla and see where we can go without too much stress. But if that breaks, then good to go on that one, as we're now $1.50, $1.60, $1.70 now in the money as Google just keeps on riding high side. Yeah, as soon as Andre or someone tells me we're going to Adara, then we can throw to Adara whenever we are told. There it is. Let's go over to Adara.
UBER getting hit with an FTC lawsuit. FTC in certain U.S. states suing Uber with regards to their Uber One subscription practices. So once again here, FTC in certain U.S. states suing Uber with regards to its subscription practices for Uber One. Anecdotally speaking, I've spoken about this on the show before. Uber One, really hard to unsubscribe from. So UBER, I guess, being faced with this lawsuit. If I get more details, I'll let you know. Back to you.
I never tried to cancel it, so
I've canceled my Uber, like no problems. Like many times, there's also a chat you can go into. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Thanks, Andre. Yeah, there we go. That was last night, Andre. The paparazzi there grabbing a picture. So I want to thank you. There we are doing some stretches right there as some players, I say some traders off screen. But yeah, that's your High Park Red Sox there yesterday. We did not come away with the victory though yesterday, which is fine. We played the Mets, so we had a great time. And I give away Big League Chew as a player of the game. So that was a lot of fun there yesterday.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, people really look forward to that at the end of every day. So thanks, Andre, for coming through to that one as well. We'll throw it back over to Neil as Google right now, $2.50 in the money.
The other thing we look forward to is traders. You should be looking forward to the Trading World Championship. It's the biggest trading event that Trade the Pool has ever been a part of. Wow. The Trading World Championship 2026 is coming together with top trading brands from across the industry, and it starts on June the 8th. This is your chance to win huge prizes, including over $20,000 in cash rewards, evaluation accounts, exclusive giveaways, and access to special live events happening throughout the competition. The only way to win is to join, and registration is free, everybody. So don't miss your shot. Scan the QR code on your screen right now. Sign up and join the Trading World Championships 2026. Shout out to Trade the Pool. Shout out to Steve for coming on and reminding everybody that you're not smarter than the moving averages. Love that line.
Yes,
please, Randy. Absolutely, Randy. Yes, please. I will take one. So IBIT for the first time has put in a mute bounce. Oh, where'd my Bitcoin thing go? Shoot.
66. 66. Like 60.
What I was going to say is so it put in a bounce.
Coming in.
It broke 61K, and then it lost 61K back into the downside. So just going to short it back into the 61 level, which will be like 34.5, 34.6 or something like that on IBIT. It just can't seem to stay afloat, unfortunately. Looking pretty rough for Bitcoin. We've said that all morning long. And INIO is trying to break the trend to the downside. Somehow that IPO just maintains so much strength. It's ridiculous. Intel broke its trend line, which I'll probably have to redraw, holding on to the even dollar, which is where the stop is. So if it breaks the even, I'm out. Otherwise, we're still looking for the volume-weighted average price on that. Crazy day. By the way, with the market trying to catch a bit of a bid, I actually thought that Walmart would be pulling back. It's not. Walmart's at the high, even with the market catching a bounce. So it's maintaining its strength, which is a great sign.
Yeah, I was going to say the ES, which is still down. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's going to be definitely holes everywhere right now. But great look there on Walmart. And we talked about Walmart their day down at 112. But there it is, man. The ES trying to catch a bounce as well. Just to show you the discrepancy there. The NASDAQ down 2, ES down 1. So there is some kind of strength somewhere. And let's just go have a quick look at all of the sectors, because it's not just tech names. I know that's primarily what we trade over here. I'm a big cap tech guy. We talked about that. Shout out to Steve, who said the same thing. And I trade futures as well. Shout out to Steve as well. Hey, maybe Steve is me. All right, Eli Lilly. I don't want to insult Steve. There's 2.29%. Yeah, buddy. This has been a big one. This is now all-time highs, and I've already said this, man. This is my largest non-tech holding. J&J's trying to slip into that spot, but we've been buying J&J on dips, and that's been a good one. We bought some 222s or 223s, now up to 231 now on J&J. Collect that dividend, and I want to thank half of Katina Wilson Capital for always promoting the dividend. So shout out to Joe there as well. Intel, look at Intel's number. Intel down 6, Micron down 6, Broadcom down 6, NVIDIA down 3. You don't see that often. Take advantage of that. I did buy some NVIDIA at 15s, so that's a problem right now. Not a problem, but it's a problem because it's lower. Vertiv, I mean, I like these names. I like the GE Vernovas, the Vertivs of the world. Those names can definitely get a piece of action at some point for sure. CrowdStrike down another 3.5. IBM down 4. Wow, man, as I look back, let's go. We're at the high of the day right now for Google, high of this move, so we're really happy with the performance there. Oracle, I mean, that was trying to go. We had a lot of people asking us, hey, what's about Oracle on the move higher? And I say, what about it, man? Because it is downside there today for ORCL. And we're waiting for 371.50s. So we just missed it, right? Like, I'm literally at 48. So hopefully that can come in there and we'll be able to grab that trade, as now we're looking at $3 here on Google. So yeah, so far so good, licking our wounds from Tesla, but it's a lot easier now once you get these kind of a play. And we just went back into the strong name, right? I mean, we saw Google, there it is. We saw Google relatively strong in a very, very weak market. We take it, we run that to the high side. There it goes, Google, man. And my mistake is always the same. We getting involved too early into things. But at least this time, we didn't hold this thing all the way into oblivion, and we still have a respectable net in front of us right now. So all good. We're going to go. Oh, Fannie Mae yesterday. I talked to Adara about this. Donald Trump came out and mentioned that he thought the true price was $1 trillion each for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. I don't know if it was each or combined. Their market cap right now is $7 billion. So early to today, of course, I'm like, let's try the long. I mean, it was trying to bump higher. We tried it a couple times. It did not work. Now it's losing that bid, Mr. Trump. So right now, and he was, maybe Adara can justify that. I think that's.
No, I can't. And I was going to say also, Sean, it's pretty funny. If you have someone who is running an agency that you believe could be $1 trillion and is currently about $7 billion, you might not want to lend out that individual to another agency on an interim capacity, for example, completely anecdotal hypothetical.
Yeah, so that's it. But again, I mean, that's verified, right? He was mentioning that, right, Adara? Like yesterday. Yeah, so, oh boy, here we go again, man. hands bigger than my, diamonds bigger than my head on this thing right there, but there it goes. Now Google's now 3.25 in the money. This is what's happening when you're trading these big cap names. They can go against you for sure, but when they start to run and you've got it, Google has got it right there up to 372. We still have a piece of the pie on here, so it's going to be a good day here for Google longs.
Well,
hopefully.
Well, it hasn't been a good day for the crypto long. We're finally into the short. Intel just got to VWAP, but there's still a lot of strength in this market. I want 106 and potentially reloads if it holds the trend line there. But Bitcoin, you know what? I was about to tell you it was moving. Nah. Like it was catching a bit of a bid, but we're still holding this, let's call it a bear flag. We're still holding the bottom end of this bear flag range. If we hit a low, the low of the day, I'm going to be taking it out on the way to 60,000. I still think there's a temporary bounce at 60,000 on BTC until proven otherwise. So I want to be short basically into that level. Okay, there goes INIO. It's finally looking a little bit less strong. So upward trend on the better of the, it's weird that we only talked about the Quantinuum IPO, and this was the one that was good, and we didn't even mention not much about it. But it's now broken its trend. I'm going to hop into this one to the south side. This will end up a relatively tight stop based on structure because I'm only giving it to like 32.8. The prior bar, not the high of the day. So it's really only 30 cents risk. Solid volume, not as big as I would have loved.
All right. Yeah, I'm...
By the way...
We could put up, go ahead, yeah, I was going to say we could put up the locator to see what people are looking at here.
Well, I was just, the one thing I was going to point out is Lululemon is holding a very... good-looking bull flag, let's just say. Only 8% down. Remember, all things have to be taken into perspective with Lululemon because it was gapped down significantly further. So one of the earnings names holding up very well despite, not having the best of reports. I can be kind about it.
I'm going to try to go long here for 10.50, give it $1 for Tesla. That's it. So we're trying to break here. We haven't broken through yet this 25-period moving average. This was fine. Like, it was more the fact that it was this trade right there that we were long basically 417s there. Well, actually, I guess it was probably 418s and got dropped out to there at 415. So we lose $3 there. This was just back and forth. We didn't do too much because at that point we're like, we've learned our lesson, man. We'll try to take the bids there to make some money back, but that didn't happen twice. So right now we got to wait to see if it actually breaks some kind of a trend line right here, and it looks like it's going to try. So 410.50. This is really, it's right now, it's at 410.20 is where the 25-period moving average is if I zoom in a little bit. But I'm just I'm not going to, I'm going to wait for it to actually break and get above like this last little bit, right? And we can use prior bar highs or whatever we want to do right there. So if we go to a 5-minute chart, that's right into there. That's the 410.50. I mean, it's 410.60. But I'm going to take the 410.50 break right there and see if we can cover this candle up and then giddy up to the upside on TSLA. But until then, man, we wait. A good couple outs, obviously. As we said, we were waiting for the day's high. We got it 3 times right there on Google, and we made a high at 372. So, if this does pull back, we do want to buy some more down here at 369. Just hoping that, the market will rebound, which it's done nicely. We are down 2.5%. Now all of a sudden you're flying a little bit back to the upside. More on the NASDAQ, less on the ES. We dropped we dropped all of our ARM shares the other day, so that was good. And now you're, well in to $400 now into 360. So nice little downside play there for ARM. I still kind of like the story. So, potential good dip buy opportunities. Right in front of us here for ARM. So we'll go over to Adara, and we'll talk about some more key trades that we're looking at, including maybe Meta. Neil's been on Intel. He's on IBIT as we
actually.
Go ahead. We go to you first.
I literally just got out of Intel.
Okay, good, nice.
It basically came right to our target point. So I'm not out of Intel. We'll look to see if there's a continuation trade, but I'm too bearish to hold it much further than that VWAP exit. Let's go up to Adara.
Hello all, let's take a look here at SMTK. If you subscribe to our free Trader TV Live watch list, you've already seen this ticker because it was on this watch list along with another ticker we'll get to in a second here. SMTK, no news that I could find at the time, $10.5 million market cap, float here of around 17 million shares. RMSG, this was the one everyone was talking about today. Could not find any news, as I mentioned earlier, when I went on their investor relations page. They've not had a press release since December 18th, 2024. So Not a lot of data here. RMSG, I definitely remember this name rallying in the past. You've got a $16 million market cap, 5 million share float, 5% short float. STI, the name heard around the world. Ceridian Technology, this was another small cap that was, in fact, on our watch list this morning. Ceridian Technology, $309 million market cap, float here of 2.5 million shares. Yesterday announcing that there's some technology here for space batteries that can be used in AI data centers. Today, as some small cap companies do, they released another press release that is pretty much the same press release, but highlighting different things. So STI here, some more excitement there. Are you guys looking to catch that trade?
I'd forgotten that was space batteries, to be honest with you, when we were talking about STI, the small capper this morning. So apologies. There's so many runners keeping track of this one is this one is that. Unfortunately, somebody's been selling VWAP, so it's closing in a bit of that gap. It was like a half warning about STI day 2. Sometimes the pre-market is just going to give you your best. So right before we went back over to Adara, was mentioning Intel. This stock sucks.
Tesla is crazy.
That doesn't bode well. I was about to go over to ARM. So anyways, Intel went right into the only green candle in the morning, top, which is about 105.70, which was my target right in here. And it's already back to the lows, or back to where we broke the trend. That is nasty. When you're reversing that heavily, ARM reversed off of VWAP here. Okay, that's holding off the highs a little bit. Bitcoin is still, IBIT, you know what I mean? Like, it's still in this consolidation. But what I see here, which I'm going to adjust to, see this trend line? All day trend break. So I want to make sure that I got to scalp into the lows so that I can try to be reloading on the trend line. And if I can keep it tight to the trend line, instead of getting in on this bottom tail candle break, now I can just short the trend line all the way to 60, which would be a little bit better. We're going to go back up to Adara, but last one, Micron had a buy program, multiple green candles in a row. Now putting in a bit of red. I saw a few people talking about how it just dropped $10. Well, that's possibly because it was a first red candle in 20 minutes or so, Adara.
LinkedIn post, believe it or not, from Fed's Hammock on Watch. Apparently she posted on LinkedIn that it, quote, may soon be appropriate to act on rates, saying for right now it's reasonable to keep rates steady, but if these high trends continue, the Fed could have reason to act. Now that, of course, means the Fed could have reason to hike rates here, guys. Back to you.
Timone's, I love that, saying tight stop saved you today.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing, it depends on which direction you're going. I mean, if you're short, you could give it more room. Yeah. All things are in perspective. Like, if you're going for the longs, like, you take your shots, give it tight. But if you're short, I mean, the trend is with you. You can give it a little more space.
Might not even been stopped out. I mean, I think going through there. This is, and to your point about the longs, like I just said, like, what the hell's wrong with Tesla? Look at this name right now. There is your, that's why we didn't play that
400?
break. You know, that is that 25, yeah, exactly, maybe 400 incoming. That's that break right there. It didn't happen. And we talked about not making it until we covered up these, you know, some of these past prior bar highs. So that doesn't happen. So we stay away, clearly stay away from Tesla right now, as it is just, wow, getting hit right now to the downside. Look, we started the day. The very first thing I wrote down when I came in, and it's unfortunate because, you know, the market just got going there on that jobs number and we couldn't do anything about it. The TQQ short, the IBIT short, the Tesla long, chokes that one out a little bit. That's not working. And then QNT, I mean, Neil's been looking at that. I haven't looked at it today, but, you know, it broke 60 and, you know, it's just been straight downside as quantum.
I know it did bounce.
Okay, it bounced, yeah, but all right, I mean, we're still, actually, that's not bad. I mean, we talk about these levels sometimes coming into play. They're the 200 period moving average. So yeah, I mean, to Neil's point there, has been quite a bouncy one so far here today, but just waiting to see where it goes from here now is Quantinuum, that's okay. I keep on saying Inium, but it's Quantinuum. I know there's two U's, that's why it's a tricky one, yeah, so there it is. But we're just gonna, the only thing I'm doing right now is waiting for a bid to come through here on 50s, 369.50s for Google. Will add a little bit to that as well. But you gotta be responsible a little bit here when you're trading Tesla down $20 from the top. But it's no Eli Lilly, no cry, or maybe it's the other way around. If you're not in it, maybe it is a crying moment, because there goes Eli Lilly, there's Caterpillar, there's Eli Lilly, there's some great names that continue to go higher and higher and higher. And man, I have that same exact story. Yeah, I have that same story as Joe, where I dumped Google at those lows of like 160, 170. But the thing is, that day or a couple days later, it's Google's up more than where Eli Lilly is, but that's when I turned over and I said, okay, I'm going to dump, and I didn't dump, like when I talk about dumping Google, maybe I dumped 30% or 25%, it wasn't huge, but I put all of that money into Eli Lilly, basically not for the first time, but a significant chunk of it in and around these levels there over last summer. So it's nice to see. We did not, did we? Oh, we did dip by somewhere. I'd have to go back and look to see when we last talked about it, but we did dip by somewhere in here. I'm thinking it was more closer to 900, not 850. So I love the 200 period on stocks that we like. We talk about that all of the time. And in my next play, and we didn't screw up. It's just CEG got filled and IREN didn't. And now I'm seeing why CEG got filled, because Constellation keeps on bleeding. And, it's easy for me to sit here and, talk about, oh, I have this winner, that winner. But at the end of the day, there's losers in the account as well. We bought some 300s there on CEG, and we bought into here 360s. We told you our average price was slightly higher than, I think it's like 285, 284 or so. And now this one continues to bleed lower. I like some CEG and want to get even a little bit more long.
I think the issue is the data center power stuff is going down now.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Like
G Vernova has lost the trend line.
That was the next look.
And they've been leading the space a little bit here, and they lost 1,000 on GEV, and it's not looking terribly healthy over on GE Vernova. That's why I'm a little surprised that the good IPO was actually the power one, the data center power.
That's true, yeah.
It's weird because everything else related in the space has been weak the last couple of days. Let's go over to Adara. Steve day trades, no. IBIT, a buy? What? Not yet.
Well, I'll tell you here what's not looking like a buy at this particular level. NASDAQ, perhaps, as we get more comments from the U.S. Central Command on the Iran conflict. USS Tripoli transiting the Arabian Sea as they're putting it, amphibious assault ship supports the ongoing U.S. blockade against Iran. CENTCOM also saying that U.S. forces have at this time directed 129 commercial vessels and disabled 6 others to ensure compliance. So more ships coming out here from the U.S. in Iran to support their blockade. Back to you.
We did get, thanks Adara for that one, and I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but I'm only trading Google right now, and we just loaded. We got, okay, well, we have a button for that. We're not reloaded like full port here or anything like that, but we did get some more there at VWAP around 369. Ultimately, my dropout zone is going to be around 368, so if we got to try to, there it is, we just get some O's there. What did I get? There's O's, sorry. So out a couple times here as we reloaded at 50s, or sorry, at 70s and then at 60s. And yeah, now we wait to see what winds up happening here with Google. It looks like it's trying to go back to the upside. 370.28 I'm sitting at for some random reason. So we'll sit there, see if that breaks a little bit higher now. As we just reloaded this name, there's another 60 cents on the reload for Google. Man, we've been hitting this one pretty good, playing the dip buys there. But hey, dips don't work forever, man. And who knows if this market does have a bid to it, but I know that I'm in the name that I want to be in, and that's Google, as we continue to go higher. Almost $1 in the money, and we just loaded it up a couple minutes ago. So yeah, I think this one's right.
Well, the NASDAQ doesn't seem right yet. And also, too, we talked about rates. The IWM is getting cracked as well. Like the NASDAQ's down 2, Russell's only down 1.8. Like really? We're still pricing in raises at the end of the year. And somehow the small caps on pullbacks are doing better than the overall Q. So we'll see. To the point that someone had asked whether, and it was just a typo, they meant IBIT. They were talking about Bitcoin. It was the wrong symbol in the chat, but it was IBIT. Are you making a bottom yet? The market's making a higher low, and Bitcoin is still making like a lower low. Well, if it makes a bottom here, it would still be a lower low. So you're still relatively weak. Nothing has really changed, but it does still have a distinct trend that if broken, I'd respect till VWAP. And if it gets to VWAP, great. The other thing that has been true most days is, it's true for Marvell. Like Marvell is holding VWAP right now, so it's relatively strong. And it was ARM that I was talking about earlier has always caught this massive bid. It doesn't seem like it today. I might get away from that notion of big time, immediate V-shaped recovery on ARM every day. This one doesn't quite look the same as others. Like, it's usually one hammer on the 15 and then you're gone. That's not really following through in the same way. So keep that crypto short, at least for now. And trying to find something that I like for a bit of a long reversion. NVIDIA is at yesterday's low, so that's setting up. They bought it at 211 yesterday. So if they're going to buy it at the same price today, this one for a trend break is going to make some sense. But it's a while away from breaking this trend. So patience is going to be in for that.
Dollar on the reload now for Google, and just trying to let that go higher. But yeah, there's more names than that in the market. So let's go over to Robinhood quickly. 84 and change, back into, and this was those levels that we sort of talked about yesterday. Maybe we can zoom back out a little bit there. And this was sort of that dip buy zone that we were thinking about doing something on. We didn't do anything on it. I mean, I told you I'm sort of obsessed with that one name right now, but right back into there, 83.50 for Robinhood. But yeah, what's going on to everybody? I want to say hi to everybody that's in the chat right now, and we'll see if we can create some money storms coming through right now, and we'll do a little bit of a roll call right now to see who's here. Hey, Joe is here. What's up, Joe? Hopefully you're doing well, my guy there. Get ready for Joe. In less than 1/2 hour, we will have Joe TTV, Sharif TTV right back in there for your bro show. What's up, Joe? Right there. Hope you're doing well. Did Trump go all in? Who knows? There's Mike Peter Ryder says, what's up? Super no. Yes. Right there. What's up to you as well? Andrew Chow is here. Juan Padilla. Here, let's just do this, guys. Hi, everybody. We'll wave to everybody there. We'll say hi to you, and thank you for joining us one more time here on a Friday. So, excuse me, Juan Padilla, Derek Thompson, Dave. Oh, I see you, Dave Clark. Thanks for your participation on X, by the way, Dave. I see you all the time. So thank you for giving me some trade ideas as well over there on Twitter. Taylor is here as well. We always see her. Blicky Spears. What's up, Blicky Spears? Great name. We really like that one. Shane B is in the building as well. Trader 6 says, let's go. We're doing that as well. Oh, we'll look at that. There he is. Lindenmeyer, another great contributor to our chat. Mr. Lindenmeyer, hope you're doing well as well there. You're looking at STI, so that might be something. And then just a couple more. Anybody that's waving, we're going to get a hi to. What's up to Real Gary F? Or how about anybody that's a member? What's up, Green Saber right there? Holly in New York gets a shout out today. Mr. Jets fan, good luck on that one. Someone in our league is trying to give me Breece Hall, if you believe it or not. There's Robe Girl, what's up? I think he has a chance, but that offense is, wow. Roulette Tech, what's up? Kenny Watson, what's up? Everybody there. Sean Hogdog, whatever that is. Mr. Ducats, hopefully you've got some ducats in your pocket today, and it would be maybe from the short. All my money today is, thank you for that. That is your roll call right there. We'll say thank you.
Thank you very much, Adara.
We'll just say thank you to Adara for everything all the time. But that's your roll call, and thanks for watching us, man. It's 10:30 right now. The midday show comes up pretty soon. They focus primarily on small cap names, and they're going to have some good talk about news and everything like that. That's coming at 11 o'clock with Sharif and Joe.
I'll also say this. If Geno Smith can get successfully traded in our pool, by me, then Breece Hall.
Oh, yeah. I mean, running backs are, somewhat.
Ooh, trend break happened. I'm not reversing long, but I am going to get out and not make sure we don't take a loss on IBIT. Remember that downward trend? It is breaking finally on IBIT. So maybe the bottom is in. It got to 60,300, I want to say. About there was the low on IBIT, something in and around that. But a little bit stronger is BMNR, and it's also SSR. It should be short sell restricted. So this one looks a little bit more interesting for a reversal play, and NVIDIA is trying to creep up the trend line as well. So NVIDIA is real close to breaking the trend. If it does, great, play to VWAP and then see how far it might go. But yeah, that's why we hopped out. Looks like a little bit of a bottom there on Bitcoin. You take it as far as you can go, but 60,000, temporary bottom. I still think it could break this weekend. That's just my opinion. We'll see what happens.
I mean, again, like we just reloaded 369.60 and taken some out again up here for 40, 50 cents. So, I mean, we just keep on reloading this thing. I want to get lighter and lighter because you know what? Like once this breaks, it's a problem for me for sure if I just keep on doing this. But hey, man, it's working out so far. And if something's working, I think you should keep on doing it. So we'll keep trucking along here with Google until we don't. And that's probably going to come at a 368 drop zone. So watch out there if you're a fan of Canada's Wonderland. You know that there's drop zone over there. That's been a pretty good ride, I think. That's one that's lasted. It just lasted. I mean, they've gotten rid of, they got rid of Jet Scream. They got rid of a lot of the old.
It breaks down a lot.
Yeah.
The summer, I worked at Canada's Wonderland when I was in high school. Even when it first came in, look, I love the park. I don't want to hate on the park. We have season, whatever. We have a season pass. but its rate of being down was one of the highest in the park. And it's a safe ride.
Remember, that was 35.
No, it's still true.
Is it?
It's down a lot.
I'm gonna ask Gemini which one breaks down.
It's like downtime. It's not that it's bad. You're still safe on the ride. It's just that it's just so often that it's not running. It sucks. Yeah. And that ride is at a lot of parks have that same drop zone kind of thing. The other thing is it's actually built in a way that it's one of the rides where you can get trapped for a long period of time.
You're stuck up
at
there.
the top. Yeah, no, I saw people up there for like a half an hour.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little bit longer. You're safe, but you're stuck.
Maybe they'll get you a free fountain drink.
Well, they actually do that. And an exit pass. SpaceX IPO is said to draw more orders than shares available. You don't say. It doesn't mean I would want to invest in it. Trade it, yes. Invest in it, no, thank you. Maybe it's right. I'm not going to bet that it is. Not me. You know what? How about this? Because I'm willing to bet. Well, the last time I opened my mouth and just randomly made a bet, I had to eat pineapple pizza. So here I'm going to put up a poll. Would you rather own Tesla or SpaceX? And this is at the IPO. Like at the moment of the IPO, you either buy the open. I'm not talking about you getting the issue price at 135, right? Like whatever price they both open at in the open market, whatever Tesla's at that moment, or SpaceX and there we go, SPSX. Is that right? SPCX, right? Yes. Yeah. Okay, so we'll start the voting. Type 1 if you'd rather own Tesla. I'm just going to get my 1 in there for now because you should already know what I'm saying. And then type 2 for SpaceX. Should be pretty simple. Yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be mostly Tesla, but we'll see. 33%. Early look is 33% want SpaceX. I just think it's a valuation thing, and Tesla has kind of turned the corner and has a lot going for it as well. But maybe some people do like SpaceX. And I'm not talking about the IPO. Where it opens is not going to be $135. If it opens at $135, I'll eat some, whatever. I'll eat crow. That wouldn't happen. Now more votes coming in for SpaceX, the more I trash talk it there. So now up to 40%. Really? Okay, so there's some optimism in our chat about SpaceX. Interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that to be true. You can get the more mature company, which makes some sense to me, or you can buy it at it'll be 1.7 trillion at the open price. It could open at a 3 trillion or 2.5 trillion.
Higher.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not talking about you getting it at 1.7 trillion valuation. The open price will be 2.5 to 3, maybe even more than that. It could be 4. That's why I think Tesla gets appealing, relatively speaking. The long term, I'm sure, is fine for it. Anyways.
Well, that's what we're talking about, sort of long term, right? SpaceX versus Tesla. And it's no surprise to me that everyone would be voting for SpaceX. SpaceX is obviously a huge retail play.
58-42.
50. Okay, wow, good one, man. Very, very close.
It's closer than I thought.
Yeah, closer than I thought too. 58-42. All right, Adara, what you got over there?
What I have in front of me is a board that appears to back up Michael Noss's analysis this morning when it came to sector rotation. You've got a lot of weakness in tech and tech-adjacent names and a lot of strength in other places. We'll start with weakness here. Other than Apple preparing for its WWDC event with the keynote on Monday, you've got weakness in pretty much every other electronic tech name and massive weakness here. Micron down 5%, Broadcom down 4%, NVIDIA down 3%, Intel down 6%, Qualcomm down 5%. I could go on and on, but I won't because they all pretty much look like this. Tech services also not doing too hot here. Oracle down 6%, IBM down 4%, CrowdStrike down 3%, ServiceNow down 3%, etc. Producer manufacturing, which does have some AI-related names here, specifically RCX and AMAT chip manufacturing, both sharply to the downside. Consumer durables, Tesla here down 2.5%. Non-energy minerals also struggling here with both Newmont and FCX down 6%. And energy minerals will remain on watch as we continue to see headlines from the U.S. and Iran conflict. Let's talk about some things that are notably strong here because there are some sectors. Finance, parts of it are trying to battle back here. You've got some strength in PGR and Chubb, some of these insurance names, and Berkshire Hathaway up 2%. Health tech up massively as a sector. Eli Lilly, as mentioning, just briefly kissing all-time highs there. And it looks like right now we're still above that 1150 area. Process industry strong, transportation strong, utility strong, health services once again strong. You know what's strong? The morning show. Back to you.
The market team is winning 1-0 right now at Scotia Pond. So, yeah, so far so good there. She's playing for some Canadian team up there. So it'll be nice to see. I'll get these updates there. She's playing wing today. Sometimes center, sometimes wing right there. But, yeah, we're getting those updates. And we're also averaging into Google, by the way, which seems to be awesome to do that. We're long right here right now. So I don't know. We'll see what winds up happening with Google. We're able to pick up some bottoms there. But at the same time, we're just right now at 369, which is the price that I'm at too. So yeah, right now just kind of struggle bus along here with Google. We'll wait to see what winds up happening. But yeah, so far so good. Waiting, dip buying, and we said, you know, it's good until it ain't. And right now it's starting to turn around a little bit here for Google back into the downside as the market had that run up. So if this breaks 368, we'll just get out of it. You know, be up on Google, but you know, give a little bit back here, trying to buy some dips. So let's not do too much more of that. We are going to dump out here if it breaks. Yeah, 368 is what I put in, so we're getting close to doing that right about now.
We have a bunch of messages. One from Enoch over there. Well, first of all, it's just a gift over on TikTok. Want to shout you out wherever you find us. We appreciate all our viewers. Throw a message in there. We'd love to engage with you there. And I'm not saying you have to, but you can just be in the chat. If there's a symbol that you're interested in or what you're trading today, it doesn't really matter. Like anything and everything. We got a great community in here.
Yes.
We have Raphael.
Oh,
did it not? There we go. We have Raphael as well. What's a good price to buy Cerberus? I'm a little bearish on that IPO. And Lilly. Well, the levels on Eli Lilly, I own one of these two things, and if you haven't guessed, it's definitely not Cerberus. I've never bought Lilly at highs. Bought it years and years ago, and at 700 are the only two places that I've ever purchased this stock. When it was barcoding at 700, when everyone's like, Eli Lilly's doing absolutely nothing. Oh no, it's doing absolutely nothing. Yeah, consolidating in an uptrend is the way I like to see it, with buyers in the 700 levels. So that was a good buy in there. The 50 and the 200 period look pretty fantastic for it. If it's in an uptrend again, that's where it was supporting before, and then it kind of went sideways, so you buy at support. So it's looking for like a dip and then go sideways again. So the 50 period would be as good as any. CBRS, any IPO, whenever it does this, which is just go straight down, the first logical price that I think about is the issue price, which was $185. What other levels there are no other levels on Cerberus. Like it opened at 350, went to 385, and has been tanking ever since. The issue was at 185. So that's the only level of support that's even out there. And if it breaks that, go look at some private funding rounds and work out the market caps and valuations, and maybe you'll get some historical prices pre-IPO. But other than that, it's like the 185. And I wouldn't buy it. I don't want to be buying the dip on this IPO. I think if there's an IPO I'm buying the dip on, it'll be SpaceX later in the year. We got another super chat. SpaceX is putting a limit on first day selling and the rich not wanting to pay taxes. At least no rug on SpaceX.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no guarantees.
That's what I was gonna say. You never know.
There's no guarantees that there will be no rug. Don't think that it can only go up. That'd be a big mistake. Omen.
That's part of the problem is people think that.
People assume that's like, it can only go up. Yeah. Historically, outside of like an exuberance trade, the first day, buying it at the actual open price, not the issue price, the open price, is historically not been a good thing. Anyways, I'm on IBRK and can't buy US IPOs. How should I approach the drop in SpaceX? I feel like I'm going to miss my chance at this moment. Please help. You could always...
But you don't need to buy, what do you mean IBKR can't buy IPOs? Why can't you?
I'm assuming the issue. You're not
getting... Yeah, but then you don't want... Then what drop then?
Well, then
How should I approach the drop?
I don't know. Maybe if you like the company, DCA into it.
That's what I'm saying. Like the drop is exactly what you want. Like if it's not allowing you to buy IPOs, that's a favor in your direction if you think it's going to drop. You know, so I would just say, yeah, just wait for it. Like we had Steve Tileman come on and say, give it a couple years. You know, but
which seems extreme.
Yeah, it seems extreme to me too. But give it a shot and figure out what's going on there with Google and with SpaceX and. give it a moment, right? Because you never know where these stocks are going to go. And I think Tesla, all of them have little ups and downs, right? I mean, we saw Circle make moves, back and forth. We've seen StubHub. I mean, there's many different names that have come to market recently with some decent, retail exposure and hype to it. I mean, ARM is a good example
that was the one I was going to use because it's the only example of an IPO that I flat out was like, I want to own this company right away and didn't buy the issue. But then as it was coming down, I got cute about it and was like, oh, I'm going to get X price. And I think I did what I was talking about before, where I looked at previous, when it was private valuations, and was like, I anchored myself to a number from one of those and then ended up not getting the dip buy because I thought I was so clever. And then it ended up doing all this and I only ended up buying the breakouts, which it's worked out fine. But what you can do is if you really like it and you want to own 10 grand in it, let's just say, then you put 2 grand in the first week, you wait a quarter or something and put 2 grand in, you wait another quarter, you DCA into it, and then you get your investment that way because you're not trying to guess at where the price will be. You just want to own it in the long term. I think that's a pretty reasonable way to approach things oftentimes. It's not to try to be perfect about it. The DCA is not the worst idea. NVIDIA, remember I said the next trade was going to be NVIDIA breaking the trend line? Yeah, about that. NVIDIA did not break the trend line. It got to the trend line and is now making a fresh low of the day. So we're still looking pretty weak overall in the market. It's not looking good at all.
If anything, maybe that short up there could have been something there on the TQ. I was ARM down 8%. We don't need to talk about that as Niels just has. But so that was a downside play there for the NASDAQ again. I mean, look at it. Look at VWAP. Look how good that is today, right? So if you are a VWAP trader, which I try to be sometimes, that should have been looked at, that is for sure. So there it goes, man. VWAP on the NASDAQ. Definitely worth having a look at. If it comes back up there, $80.75 or so. We'll wait for that one to pop through. Okay, Intel, VWAP, SOXL. I mean, let's look at some of the bigger names there. We just looked at ARM. Now we'll have a look at Marvell. I mean, this name doesn't stay down for too long. We saw that yesterday when it rebounded pretty much all day, and it started at 10 o'clock, though. Now it's 10:50, and the market is still... Well, actually, that rebound was at 10 o'clock again today. It was 284 all the way to the downside. And look, I don't think timing has anything to do with it, but that's 10 o'clock yesterday, 10:04, and right into here today, that's 10, that's almost 10 exactly. So a nice move higher, just let it, this is what I thought Tesla was gonna do, come to the downside, then try to get back going. As we know, there's a lot of trader love for Tesla, but if you look at what Tesla's been doing, it's the opposite, man. It is at the lows right now. And talk about me just looking at things with rose-colored glasses all the time, it seems like. We were waiting for this 25 period to break. If we had just shorted every time it came to this, we would have been well back, to positive land on Tesla. But for right now, I think you just got to wait for a break. Maybe forget about this 25 period. It's been too much noise. Maybe wait for a clean break of 408 and your 50 period moving average possibly there for Tesla. And really just hoping the market bounces back. 10 minutes left. We'll figure out what's for lunch after this. But it's Money Talks right now with Adara.
It's a good look here for the U.S. dollar, pushing higher. It's interesting here. We touched yesterday's low, that area around 99.1, and then we just pushed to the upside, breaking out of the area of resistance that we had going back to Wednesday, May 20th of 99.6 or so, and just continuing to rocket to the upside. If you look at the weekly chart here, breaking out of a multi-week high, this is the highest level we've been on the DXY since April 6th, or the week of April 6th. So good look, next level here of technical resistance for the DXYs from the week before that, around 100.5. Let's take a look here once again at these employment numbers because they are important, and President Trump actually opined on them, which we'll get to in a minute. Non-farm payrolls for May 2026, 172,000 versus 88,000 expected. Average earnings year over year, 3.4%, in line with estimates of 3.4%. Likewise, unemployment rate for May 2026, 4.3%, in line with estimates of 4.3%. Take a look here at the CME FedWatch tool. For this June 2026 meeting, we're still seeing 96.2% chance that rates will be held, 3.8% chance of a possible cut here. If you look at the probabilities, though, for hikes, earlier today we were seeing January potentially for a 25 basis point hike. Now we're seeing a December 2026 basis point hike. So this could actually happen this year. BNP Paribas actually saying that they believe there's going to be some hikes this year, at least one. We also have Fed's Hammock saying that for now she believes it makes sense to hold rates where they are, but if we have some inflationary concerns in some of this data, she thinks that the Fed would need to act, which does imply a potential rate hike. You know who's not interested in a rate hike, though, is President Trump. He posted, quote, "With a great jobs report like just announced, stocks should go up, not down. That's the way it was for 200 years. Growth does not mean inflation. How else can a country attain, all caps, greatness?" 3 exclamation points. So President Trump not upset, or not happy rather, with the market's reaction to this jobs number. We're going to send you back over to Sean and Neil.
I wish that could spike a bid right there, but it doesn't seem to be doing it quite yet.
Yeah, there's been moments.
Yeah. I mean, the market's trying to hold up. We were down 2.5. We're now down 2.
Yeah, you got to pick your spots. Intel's looking okay. That's actually trying to get through VWAP. There might be another trade in here on Intel. It's holding some higher lows. I like it. We were able to get one reversion on it, but it was a bit like it was really tight because it had already made such a big bounce. But it was still a pretty decent entry. It wasn't perfect, I don't think. There's still an opportunity for Bitcoin to maybe make another move in here. Again, like that, just a little tight to the 34 level, which is also 60,000, I believe. I think 60,000 can be about 34 even on IBIT, but that's still holding lower highs. So I can get rid of the trend line that we were trading off before, maybe look at the whole bear thing, the bear flag, and maybe short the bottom end of it. NVIDIA was another name. Haven't been in it yet, but I'm waiting for it to break trend. I might be done with QNT. One and done can be good. We'll see. It's starting, like in the morning, you're gonna get like that bigger move, like that first bounce. It was like just very quickly bounced up to 57 and pulled right back into 55, so you scalp the inside of the range. Now it looks way too sideways, and I don't want to get involved. Ooh, do not like seeing that candle. Yeah, that's a candle you don't want to see for the market. Like Apple just slammed $1.
Oh no.
Okay, so Apple was churning along just now, and then that just slammed. Yeah, I still feel like this could be a short. I'm going to slide back over to IBIT because I can just basically play this off of this resistance here at 34.65. Keep the bearish tinge for at least a little bit longer.
All right, we have something to talk about right now. Because it is now 2-0 as Giacotina lights the lamp up there for the Canadian Moose. And we go, apparently now it's 3-0. I just got the update there as well.
That was fast.
Yeah, that was fast. So I asked her if there's any video of it. I don't think Marissa's actually taking video right now of that. So I'm proud dad over here, of course. As yeah, tomorrow. So tomorrow we have baseball. Yeah, okay, I was going to say, yeah, she has... It was funny because yesterday she did CrossFit, and then she came and did baseball until 10 o'clock last night. Then she has 2 games today, 2 hockey games today, 2 hockey games tomorrow, a tournament all next weekend. We have practice tomorrow morning for the girls rep team.
Practice?
Practice. She doesn't even go to practice, to be honest with you. She's
practice?
Too busy. And then just a very, very busy life. And you know what? I think I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, I coach 2 very competitive, and Andre was there yesterday, baseball teams, and then also trying to support this hockey life, which is crazy, but I couldn't do it. I have to say a big shout out to my wife. You know, this is exactly the reason why, honestly, like, this is why, for me anyways, the fact that she's able to stay home and do that kind of stuff, it's just amazing that's because I'm trying to come into work. I take as many days off as I can to enjoy that, but it's been really a great opportunity for bonding, obviously, for all of our family members, because even my son, goes to the games and everything like that. So I'm just going to say, like, those of you that have kids, the time goes by, and you would all know this, it just goes by too quick. Like, you only have a certain amount of summers with them until they move out. We were talking about this the other day, and you only have a certain amount of, opportunities to spend with them. So, do your best and spend as much time with the loved ones, whether or not your kids, your parents. I mean, the same thing is true of parents, right? Is when you get our ages, like 65, I'm about 50.
You spend like 95% of your time is gone.
Your parents, we're the exact same age, pretty much. I'm actually older than Neil, believe it or not. Yeah. So, but anyways, spend as much time you can with your loved ones, and I just want to thank Marissa for doing that. And that's a good point. Days go slow, years go fast. That's like, forget about all these terminologies that we have about the market. Like, I'm here for one reason and one reason only. That's for all of you guys and the family.
Yo, what is the rider getting on about?
What, with himself or with others?
No. It was that fight that put him in jail in high school.
Oh, me? Yeah,
okay, so for the records, just to set the record straight, because I don't actually recall telling this story, but on the off chance that the story got told, nobody went to jail.
Jail?
And first of all, it was technically self-defense, and wasn't me. I'm just simply saying there was a certain friend of ours that might have got himself into a precarious situation, and Sean was simply defending said person.
Oh, that was university.
That was in university and not high school, for the record. And nobody went to jail over it. That was never said, and it never happened.
Joe throws fists in the ring, I throw fists in the street.
Nobody
that's what it's. Remember those Street Fighters? There used to be that big.
Yes. Kimbo.
Kimbo Slice.
He passed away.
I actually hate watching those videos. Like, I don't like when people are just beating up on people. I don't know. Like, I like the UFC is a sport. I get that there's training for that and there's precautions. Like
that, there's no safety
in the street fighting.
Whatsoever.
The Kimbo Slice stuff. It was like. I don't know. But anyways, when is that UFC on the lawn? It's UFC 250. Is it on the 4th? Like, I know it's the 4th of July, or I don't. Is there? There must be a date set, right? For that?
Yeah, I actually
you guys
don't
know what the date is of that?
When is the UFC?
July 12th or something, like that. Anyways, shout out to UFC. Oh, by the way, we are now really starting to rock and roll. We've put our
next week.
Oh, next week? What? Next week?
June. It's next Sunday.
Oh, Flag Day. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's on the 14th of June. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
Sunday.
Wow. Next Sunday.
Oh, wow.
It's a Sunday.
It's on a Sunday?
Oh, it's happening in the middle of the day? Oh, it's next Sunday, June 14th.
Oh, US 250. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. Guys, we are, oh man, it's too bad that we got out of a lot of this at VWAP, and then as we go higher, we really bought that dip there at 368 like we sort of said we were going to do. So there it goes, man. It is just a huge move higher here into 370.50. Let's just hold on now. Unfortunately, I only have about a third left of the whole trade that we averaged into right now, but I did not expect that. So there it goes to the upside. It is, I'm losing my voice. So nice move higher there. We'll see if 370.75 comes through. That's that high right into here. So we'll see if we can get another print up near 370.75.
Absolutely.
I'm going to put it at 50, actually.
Oh, shoot, it's only 2 minutes to go.
Oh, my God, we didn't even kneel. I was going on too much of a rant.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
Damn.
It's 11 o'clock already.
I mean, Sia is here. I mean, it could be Burger Day if there is a problem. I saw her. She is here.
Oh, okay.
She is here. I did see her there out of the corner of my eye. Well, it's the greatest flag in the world, unfortunately, today. It is the Italian flag. You will not be seeing that at the World Cup.
Meatballs?
What the hell? No, I wish it actually was meatballs. This is always what we get. It's the beef bolognese. It's a little greasy, but all right. Pasta, roasted
meatballs one time.
And we don't even have Caesar salad. We have spring salad. I don't know what's going on here. But we'll see. Beef bolognese there with pasta today. Roasted seasoned veg. Should be a good one there. But that's, I don't know. That's what's for lunch.
We had Nona's. There was one time they called it Nona's meatballs.
And they were actually decent.
And they were solid. Yeah. Bring that back.
I'll pre-grade this. This is going to be a 6 to a 7 because it's not that bad.
Every time.
Yeah, like it's not that bad. It's a little oily, but it's a pre-made. And you know the thing is like when you put something in a, like especially ground beef, which is pretty fatty. The oil just drips through.
It's really oily.
It's a tough one right there.
You guys saying rare earth stocks are getting rugged today?
Rare earth. Why, USAR or?
Yeah, I didn't really double check this sector. MP's down 6. I haven't looked at any other ones. Notice how I immediately just go to the one that I own.
Oh, MP.
Pulling.
Yeah. I haven't been into those yet. I thought LAC was maybe a hot play. But.
MP has been basically 50 to 70 to 50 to 70 to 50 to 70, no break for the last year or so. So. I don't know. For this one, it looks like it's technical. I didn't see a headline for it. And then MSOS, like the wheat stock, someone else was asking why the wheat stock's up today. I believe it was, it was...
2 headlines.
TrueLive.
TrueLive getting uplisted. Yeah. The other, which I'm also seeing circulated here, involves the White House apparently pushing, it's very complicated, but they're trying to push Congress to, I guess, delay action on something that is related to cannabis, and that action would actually be not good for cannabis and for the psychedelic space. So that's a quick summary.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go, man. And that's one of the ones that I own, that TCNNF or whatever, that's True Leave. It's one of the only weed stocks that I have left, but it's still a dog. You know what? Dog's breakfast over there. But yeah, it was MSOS, people talking. Obviously, there in the chat, if you wanted to look back and forth at an ETF today, MSOS. Breaking a little higher. I know I don't want to speak for Sharif, but I think MindMed was a play of his, maybe still holding. Okay, I was going to say a minute ago, but he's still in that one. So maybe we can get some analysis on that at some point. But that is the story there.
Called MindMed anymore?
I don't think they're called MindMed.
No, what's the new name? So DFTX.
Yeah. So DFTX there. Yeah, SpaceX IPO is open at Robinhood, says Seb. So you guys, I don't know exactly how you put those orders through. I'm not a Robinhood client. Actually, you can't be in Canada, right? Robinhood is not available here in Canada yet. I don't believe.
Just came in. CoinSquare switched from CoinSquare to Robinhood.
And I know they did okay, CoinSquare. I know they did a WonderFi.
They just closed the WonderFi deal as well.
Okay, so yeah, so potentially
they will be.
Yeah, potentially more competition for Wealthsimple or some of these Canadian names as Robinhood coming in. Maybe I'll just wait if Robinhood's coming here. Because I was thinking about taking my TFSA away from the banks and going into something that's like free to trade.
I'd wait for
like a Wealthsimple, but then if all of a sudden Robinhood comes with that gold credit card or whatever the sponsorship is, because Wealthsimple is 2% straight cash.
It's a matter of time. Robinhood is making the move into Canada. It's happening, and they're already doing it on a couple of fronts. Okay, it's past 11 o'clock. You complained about how we owed you 5 minutes. Well, you just got half of that back, boys. So without further ado, we're going to eat some Italian food. And
we also get in trouble from Joe. He wants as much time as possible on air.
Joe does give us a hard time over that, for real. Like he's like, come on, guys, I need to be on camera. I need to show off the guns.
Thank God Joe saved me from betting on Carolina. Thank God. Right there. It's one. Yes, I want to do it right now. I want to do it right now.
Smoke, my boy. It's fair.
Okay,
right now.
let's go.
1-1.
Yeah, I'm down. I was down yesterday, I asked you. Okay, 1-1. Joe and I are on double or nothing. I may owe this guy dinner by the time we're all over with this. I've got Carolina. I don't think anybody wants any smoke on the NBA. I don't know what you guys are thinking about.
Who's going to stand in front of the Knicks?
What?
Okay, well there you go. I mean, this guy wants the Knicks.
Neil, you want the Knicks?
Who do you? I'm not taking because I don't know enough about basketball. Just full disclosure.
Okay, but remember the Knicks are up one. The Knicks.
That's what I'm saying.
They stole a win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who's going to stand in front of the Knicks? I feel like they have all the momentum right now. I don't know. How do you guys feel?
Look, I'm personally cheering for the Knicks. But for the fun of it, if you want to do something fun, I'll take San Antonio just for the fun of it. Because I still think San Antonio is a better team. But I'm cheering for the Knicks. I want OG to win it.
Oh, OG Anunoby?
Yeah. Former Raptor, right?
Former Raptor, yeah. And the Raptors. I wish we didn't pick Andrea Bargnani number one overall.
Aniobi.
Annie up.
Annie up. What do you guys? Is MLB over there or something like that?
I didn't even know OG played for the Knicks anymore. I just don't follow basketball.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. It's 4 minutes past. Joe's getting upset. We'll see you at 2 p.m.
Boom. Oh, it's already up.
And